What's going on, y'all? Hope everybody is doing well tonight. We are going to have a great discussion. I see a few people are already in the space. I see Malachi Mebane. Appreciate you coming through, family. I also see Daryl saying, "What up to everyone? What up to you?" And then we have Bamboo Shoot as well too, and then Black to the Future 870. Hope y'all are all doing well. So, before we get started, we're going to go ahead and get these notes ready so we can go ahead and have our discussion. Now, before we get into the discussion, there's a few things that I'm going to be going over with you all, just some updates when it comes to the channel and things that are happening. And then we can talk about our topic for tonight. So I see a few people are coming in as well too. And so give me 1 second, y'all. I want to go ahead and I want to get my notes up. Like I said, I hope everybody's doing well tonight. This should be a really interesting discussion. I know a couple different people have already kind of talked about this topic. I originally was planning to do a video, but I had a couple different things going on, so I thought it would be better for me to just do a live and just kind of talk it out there, and I can kind of see y'all's opinions on things and stuff like that. Yes, much appreciated, Liquid Sunshine. Yes, please like and share this video. Definitely would appreciate that. So let's just go over a few things really quickly. So first thing I wanted to let you all know, I've been saying it on a lot of my videos lately, just so everybody is aware. But on Saturday, February the 28th of 2026, from 7:30 p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m., I'm going to be doing a live video lecture. Okay. And so for this lecture, I'm going to be talking about forgotten Black American heroes and inventors. This is a paid lecture. So for anybody who wants to attend, it is $10. You can cash at me, or we can, you can email me and we can kind of figure some things out as well too. I got a few people who hit me up. One thing I'm noticing, there's a few of y'all who keep cash apping me, and then you're not saying like who you are. So I'm trying to get them. I'm trying to make sure that I got y'all's like email so I can let you know when it's time to send the link so you all can kind of get on the thing. So if you're somebody and you hit me up and you had already paid and whatnot, definitely hit me with your email and stuff like that. And I'm gonna provide my email in the chat really quick for those of you all who want to hit me up. And so let's put that up in there real quick. Hey, I see my sis done made it into the chat. How are you doing? The Nuance Report. How are you doing? I haven't seen you on a live in a minute, but I'm glad you made it here either way. Said I'm watching from my Xbox app and think it doesn't show me. I came in on my mobile phone now too. That's cool. Hopefully you're able to see it now. But yeah, either way, I'm glad to have you come through. So this is my email for any of y'all who want to hit me up and whatnot, and then want to get this class. It's still on sale for anybody who would like to come. Now, as far as other things too, please, for anybody who is watching this video and is looking forward for me to get into this discussion tonight and giving my particular thoughts on what I thought about this topic, please hit the super chat for me. I would very much appreciate if you could hit the super chat. It definitely is a big help to me, definitely a big help to the channel. And it goes a long way with me continuing to do things for this channel and give you all great and informative information. So I see somebody else said their first live. Well, welcome. Welcome. You won't be disappointed because we got a lot of different stuff we're going to be covering tonight. So for those of you all who do not know, last thing I'm going to give y'all real quick. So I have a membership channel that you can also take advantage of. And there's 3 different tiers. I have the preview tier, the plus tier, and the premium tier. And each of these tiers, you can get different things. You can get membership polls. You can get like these more membership-based long-form videos. You can get my special series, Who is the Real Villain? Reviews of conspiracy-based movies, Black classic movies. and then a good look into my world building aspects. So this is where I talk about my comic books, I talk about my books, I talk about a lot of different things that are related to what I'm creating through the Cool Colas brand that's outside of everything that I talk about on this channel. So there's a lot of different stuff that you can take advantage of on this membership channel. So again, there's 3 different tiers. Again, anything that you do is a big help to the channel and ultimately to the brand, because I'm ready to make some great moves here. Someone said, I'm finna speak my mind with this topic. Please do, Dark Ghost. I want to hear what you got to say. All right, so for today's topic, we're going to be talking about the BAFTA Awards in London, but specifically the racism that happened during the BAFTA Awards in London. So during this award during this award ceremony, which took place in the UK, took place in London, there was someone who was in the audience who chose to yell out the hard ER when Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were on stage. And again, this was the BAFTA, BAFTA, however they say it, award show of 2026. So the cast of the movie was the movie Sinners were at this award show. And the reason why was Sinners was nominated for multiple awards. And this phenomenal movie won 3 awards, by the way, y'all. So it won an award for original screenplay for Ryan Coogler. It won supporting actress, and this specifically was the actress Wunmi Masuka. I think that's how you say her last name. Masaku. That's how you say her last name. And then the original score. So there's 3 different things that they won. Real quick before I go forward, I just want to say shout out to Wind Up Action Figure. A whole bunch of coincidences, huh? Cool Colas. Yeah, it was a lot of coincidences. We're gonna have to get into that. But shout out to you for the super chat. Much appreciated. But yeah, we definitely are gonna get into that. So another thing I gotta say real quick before I go into this topic. I don't know if y'all been noticing this, but for some reason, there's there's been like a lot of stuff on TikTok. I don't know if y'all been seeing it, where people have been all of a sudden trying to say that the Sinners movie wasn't a good movie. Like, I don't know if y'all been seeing this, but there's been like a lot of stuff that I've been seeing on TikTok where people are all of a sudden kind of criticizing the movie. And so, I think about that. And I'm like, when there was first criticism about this movie, most of the time I kind of knew who it was, because it was the same groups of people. It was either Christians, who didn't like the fact that Christianity was somewhat being criticized in this movie. It was Hispanics, or it was somebody who was simply just trying to be a damn contrarian. You have these kind of wannabe Kanye West motherfuckers that are out there. So I think there are a lot of them who really had some shit to say about the movie. So I just wanted to say that real quick. I don't know if y'all been kind of peeping that, but I've seen that, a bit on TikTok. So anyway, when during this award show, when Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo got on stage, a so-called Tourette's activist, whose name is John Davison, who has Tourette syndrome himself, decided to yell the hard ER while these 2 brothers were on stage, right? And this really was a real shot at Black people specifically, because it's not even just FBAs who got attacked at this point. I mean, think about it. Delroy Lindo is not FBA, and he was also attacked. So this was an attack on Black people. But I would say it was mostly an attack on foundational Black Americans, because you have Michael B. Jordan, who's FBA, and then this was really an FBA-inspired film. Like, if you really think about this, this is really an FBA classic, but a modern FBA classic. And you had like non-FBA actors that, played FBA roles on it, sure, but ultimately it was an FBA film. Either way, Black people were attacked, and that's just what it was. Let's see here. Shout out to my sis. I appreciate you. Clocks it every time. Very much appreciated for the super chat. Yes. And there's a lot that we're going to cover here, and I want to give my analysis. But yeah, when it comes to the Sinners movie, there are a lot of haters. I've been seeing y'all put that in the comments and whatnot. And I think more people again are just trying to, sit around and be, contrarians and whatnot. So I think that's why a lot of people are acting like they all of a sudden hate the damn movie and shit. So anyway, so after this activist, I guess like ended up yelling the hard ER while this was going down. Post the incident, the British Academy of Film and Television Arts released a statement, and this statement was released on February the 23rd. And during the statement, they gave a half-ass apology for the incident at the prior day's BAFTA Film Awards. Somebody said, oh, Delroy isn't FBA. I thought he was the whole time. Nope, he is not FBA. Nope. Didn't even notice because I remember watching him in Crooklyn growing up. The thing I like about Delroy Lindo is from what I've seen of him, he seems like he's a writer with foundational Black Americans. So I definitely still, rock with him and stuff like that. And like I said, regardless, if you're Black, no matter what culture you come from, if you are a writer, then I support you. And I definitely support you and your culture and people who are like you, right? But Delroy Lindo is not FBA. Michael B. Jordan is. But I think for the most part, this is mostly a shot at FBAs because of the fact that, this was an FBA film. And then again, Michael B. Jordan was also in this as well, too. And this brother was playing two roles, if you think about it, because he was playing Smoke and he also was playing Stack. So, but yeah, again, Delroy Lindo is definitely a writer. So I definitely have a lot of respect for him regardless. But anyway, so going back to what I was saying. So yeah, post the incident, they released this statement. They gave this half-ass apology, which really is not an apology. And this was after the Film Awards went on. And this is what they said, and I quote, "We want to acknowledge the harm that this has caused, address what happened, and apologize to all." So this is what BAFTA said specifically. Also, they thanked Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo for their incredible dignity and professionalism. And we have to say, we have to talk about that shit, y'all. There's a lot that goes into that. Now, let's look at this shit from a few different angles, and let's try to look at it as logically as we can, because I know there's a lot of us who are pissed that this shit happened, but let's just look at it from every angle. First of all, we need to address the elephant in the room, okay? And I know y'all are thinking it, and I'm about to say it. Disabilities are not an excuse for racism. Literally, there's no other way to put it. Disabilities are not an excuse for racism. And I'll go further with that. Tourette's doesn't randomly make you generate racist ideologies. Those racist ideologies were already there. It's as simple as that. So I want to be clear in case nobody else thinks or somebody else thinks that I think differently than how I think. Tourette's doesn't make you racist. Tourette's doesn't make you racist. Tourette's doesn't make you racist. Tourette's doesn't fucking make you racist. I had to pull a Umar on that ass. Tourette's does not make your ass racist. There's no other way to put it. That's the most ridiculous shit. And there's a lot of these people in the dominant society who are sitting there trying to go around and say and make excuses to try to say that it was the Tourette's that made him racist. No, the racism was already fucking there. All it did was let the guard down. Or as a lot of people have been saying, it's been letting the filters down. And that's really all it is. Somebody said, buddy, I'm not sure, yelled the ER, but it was definitely personal. Yep. Just say it. Like, comment, share, hype, subscribe. Appreciate you. Just make you blurt that shit out. Just make you blurt out shit that you feel. It doesn't facts. He meant that full chest. He did mean it. He did mean it. The Tourette's didn't make him say some racist shit. He just is racist, and all it did was put the filter down. It's like being drunk all the fucking time, basically, And really, I'm going to be honest with you, because there's a lot of excuses being made. A lot of people are trying to debate, and they're trying to say that is corporophilia, and that's a specific type of Tourette's, by the way, I guess is what that is. And I looked into it, but again, I'm not here to debate about that whatsoever. But I noticed something that a lot of people are not going to call out. So anybody who wants to go in and they want to try to make excuses and they want to try to placate and act like, it's excusable, it's justifiable, and all this other stuff. We really need to look at what happened. So first of all, this is just the real. When this man said the hard ER, right? He said the hard when he said it was very coincidental. He said it right when two black people just happened to be on stage. It wasn't like he just randomly blurted it out when nobody was on stage, or somebody white was on stage, somebody who was like a British white was on stage, or somebody who was Hispanic was on stage. He said that shit at the very moment while two black people were giving their speech. Okay? Like, nobody is going to believe in that fucking coincidence. That's why I said they just make a bunch of fucking excuses. It's interesting how that slur, and only that fucking slur, came out when these two brothers were on stage. That's ridiculous. I mean, what would have happened if he would have yelled rape, or if he would have yelled fire, or if he would have yelled some other shit that would have had everybody just scattering, or a bomb or something? What would have happened if he would have yelled out any of these things? They would have most likely reacted right then and there, and they would have done some form of removal of this person. It wouldn't have been how they just kind of let it happen, and then these two brothers on stage had to just ingest it, right? And try to keep it moving despite the fact that they're being racially accosted on stage. That's ridiculous. And the thing is that if there was something that they wanted to remove, they would have removed that shit already. Because when it came to that whole free Palestine shit, somebody was saying that, and they made sure to bleep that shit out. So they definitely knew what the fuck they were doing. And that man who had Tourette's knew what the fuck he was doing as well, too. The thing, too, is this man had the opportunity to remove himself, but instead he used it as an opportunity to go out of his way to toot his own horn. He was thanking people for coming to his aid about the whole Tourette's thing and being someone who actually is an advocate for it. And it was a bunch of Mayo excuses. And he used that shit as free promotion for his Tourette's campaign. He, a nobody, was trying to use this as a moment for foundational Black Americans and Black people as a moment to try to make himself seem like he was somebody. That's really what it was. Let's see. There's a few people in here. Let's see. I meant to say heard on the comment prior. Shake my head. I typed too freaking fast. This is all good. I kind of got what you were saying. At first, I didn't understand, but I kind of got what you were saying at the end. All the handlers in Hollywood and not one in the house to sort him. Mayonnaise, metastasizes is malignant and malevolent. Yep. And try to flip it on us as if we need to do some work to find out why he said it. That's what I'm saying. Because here's the thing. They, like, anytime that they do something, that is blatantly racist, they always have like these excuses, and it's always these specialized reasons and all this other shit. So they're like, okay, well, it happened because he happened to not just have Tourette's, but the specific type of Tourette's that causes somebody to just yell out random profanities. Here's the thing, like, that shit didn't just magically appear in his head. He already had these thoughts and ideals in his head, right? So that it didn't magically just make cuss words just appear in his mind, and then he just fucking said this shit. It didn't go down like that. Yep. And then Liquid Sunshine said the same thing that I said. They removed that Palestine shit. They did. They removed the free Palestine stuff that somebody else had said as well too. So they were quick to do that. So they know the stuff that they don't want there already. But when it came to this white man saying the hard ER when two Black people just happened to be on stage, they let that shit just go on. And again, they didn't even try to get him up out of there. And also too, his so-called apology was lame as fuck, okay? It was simply an admittance of guilt, and that's it. He wasn't even asked to apologize. He didn't even try to apologize on his own accord, because he was talking about how horrible and horrific it was that happened and stuff like that. I mean, motherfucker, we don't give a fuck about your embarrassment. We don't care about your admittance of guilt. You didn't apologize. Like, that's really all it was to it. And also, too, my feeling on him is this, when you have a certain condition, it's always best practice that if your condition is going to affect an event like the BAFTA Awards or any other award show or anything else that requires a certain level of decorum and silence, then it's best to try to stay home when those events are going on, because you know that your condition can create some type of disturbance. See, a lot of these motherfuckers are entitled and they expect that when they go out there, somebody is going to accommodate them and all this other stuff. Now, me, truthfully, I'm going to be honest with you. I think that all this shit was already set up. But let's say somebody legitimately said, hey, I have a disability. I have Tourette's. I have this. I have that, and then they want to, and then, they're considering going to this event. Somebody who conscientiously knows that they have a habit of saying things like that in an event where you're supposed to be silent and, again, have some decorum, they would know to try to stay away from that shit, okay? And this is especially true when you consider the idea that small children, babies, animals, dogs, whatever you want to call it, they're not at these types of events, right? There's, again, just a certain level of regulation with who does and does not go there, because they know they can't control a bunch of babies. They know they can't control a bunch of dogs. Like they're not going to be able to do that. And so if you're somebody who has that condition, that's something that you should have even considered before going in. But again, I need to be clear. I don't believe that what he did was something where it was like a oopsie daisy, like, oh my God, I got Tourette's and I'm horrified that I did this. He conscientiously, in my opinion, knew what the fuck he was doing. Okay. And that's why even afterwards, again, he didn't even give a sincere apology, because saying, oh, it was horrific or whatever the fuck he said, that's not a fucking apology. Okay. There's a lot of things that people think are apologies that just aren't apologies, right? Somebody telling you, for example, I'm sorry you feel that way, that bullshit ain't an apology. Somebody letting time pass by, that sure enough ain't an apology. Somebody going around and saying, like, if it hurt you, then I guess I'm sorry. That shit's not an apology, okay? Admittance of guilt is not an apology. You were right is not an apology, okay? That's just all it is. Let's see here. Never forget two things. One, Britain globalized white supremacy. That's true. And remember that they banned Tariq. Yes, they did. They did. Yep, that's true. Facts. Yep. Let it say something. Let it say something anti-Semitic and see how they change their tune. Exactly. They do things when they let things happen that they want to let happen, and then they remove the things that they want to remove. They're very like selective about what they say. So somebody here said, I'm not well versed when it comes to disabilities as a high function autistic, but I never heard of Tourette's until now. I knew of people that acted like him, but I thought it was just an act. Listen, I'm not going to debate somebody on their disability or not, like whether they do or do not have it. Okay. But here's the thing that I'm saying. My point here is, I think this dude knew what he was doing. And even if he didn't, there's just a level of consideration and decorum that you should have if you're going to make this type of, decision and whatnot. Right. Like if you're going to go there and you know that you have these outbursts. But I just find it mighty coincidental that this motherfucker literally said it the moment that two black people happened to be on stage. And then for some reason, you just didn't really hear this shit really any other time. He wasn't saying fuck. He wasn't saying shit. He wasn't saying bitch. He wasn't saying anything else that was derogatory. He just happened to say the hard ER when two black people were giving a speech on stage. It's just that's ridiculous. So yeah, it's not a shot at anybody who is autistic or even has Tourette's. It's just the idea that shit is not an excuse for racism. That's really all there is to it. Let's see here. So somebody else said, I'm gonna be honest, if he said that to me, he would be met with violence. Exactly. I don't care if we both got disabilities. Obviously, I function better than him, but I have no tolerance for racism, disability or not. Absolutely. I am 100% with that. That was ridiculous. Let's see here. I heard he promoted his book, and that moment was all about himself. That's what I'm saying. It was all about him trying to create a free promotion around what had happened during that event. It wasn't this thing of oh, I'm so horrified he said that shit. But again, that's an admittance of guilt. And then that's also embarrassment. Embarrassment's not a fucking apology. And then you turned around, you promoted yourself. So, or like not even promoted yourself. You really just patted yourself on the back. Like that moment was meant for you. It's like your ass was getting the reward. You know what I mean? Like, or you're getting an award just like Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were. That's ridiculous. Like, no, I don't buy that bullshit that, oh, it was the Tourette's that did it. No, it was the white supremacy and the man with Tourette's that did that shit. Let's see here. I finally get to see my favorite YouTube live. Much appreciated to you, Pick Six Ringo, for the comment. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're gonna have to talk very real today. Let's see here. So it was a stunt trash. Yeah, I agree. So going back, and the thing is, when it comes to him making this decision and whatnot, he may have Tourette's, but he's not an incompetent child who can't make decisions on his own. You know, he knows exactly what he's doing. You know, the thing is that again, he like there's a certain responsibility that you should have to make conscientious decisions when you're going to be in public like that. And in a minute, I'm about to get into a story of something that kind of happened that I wouldn't say that it was totally the same, because having Tourette's and saying the hard ER is a totally different thing. But a situation that kind of happened where I noticed that this was also a thing that these speculated white supremacists also tried to do. And the thing is that I'm also getting tired of some of these silly negroids that have been getting online, right? And they've been doing these weird ass pleas for grace. Like it's just some silly shit. You know, there's a lot of long distance tether babble and a lot of deflections going on. And you know, I'm prone to believe that some of these things happening are really some Sambo pick me shit. For those of you all who have been watching a lot of my videos, I talk about this sometimes. There's this this Sambo pick me agenda that's going on. And it's this thing where, you know, these Sambos are like, pick me, white supremacists, pick me. They do that shit because their whole thing is they want to get chose. So they'll try to run defense for a lot of this racist shit because they hope that it's going to lead to them having opportunities. Because there were videos, like there was this silly ass negroid who was online, and he was sitting there trying to explain for old dude who had these outbursts. And he talked about the whole corporal pilia thing that I had just talked about, and how people just need to have grace, they need to have this, they need to have that. That motherfucker is trying to get some type of acting deal. He wants one of these racists in the dominant society who does productions or some shit to notice him, and then they end up basically saying, "Yeah, why don't you come on over and we gonna get you a gig." They want those types of individuals. They're like I said, they're doing things to get chose. They're literally they're no different than those damn Instagram models that get online and then shake some ass or just have their whole ass out or whatever. Like they just want fucking attention. They want somebody to like their shit and to and in this case buy their fucking OnlyFans, because that's what the fuck they're doing. So so that's my thing. But so here's the thing that I have to say. So we're gonna get that up out of here. Ain't nobody discriminating against nobody with Tourette's. The thing is, disabilities don't excuse fucking racism. So you can get the fuck up out of here with that bullshit. Get the fuck up out of my comment section. I ain't listening to that shit. Anyway, going back. So it's just ridiculous. Nobody should excuse racism because of the fact that they have a disability. That shit is not cool. Somebody here said, "Hey, cool. Don't mean to get off topic, but I've seen a video of Dietrich Davis speak on the buck breaking of Javon Evans on Raw this past Monday. Could you speak on that?" Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about possibly, you know, talking about that and whatnot. I'm not sure when I would talk about it, but I've seen other people ask me to talk about this subject. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So going back, so the other thing too that y'all have to think about is there's a pattern here. See, one of the things that's really important about my channel is that I like to focus on this idea that there's patterns that are going on. I don't like to just talk about instances and spurts. Like if it comes up, you know, I like to describe, you know, what is happening, right? So we can have a conversation about it. But I like to point to how there are other examples of how this thing goes on. Because I told you all, and I talk about this a lot in my book, and I always pull it up so y'all can see it, the Pro-Black Blurred series, Exposing Anti-Black Media Tropes the Blurred Way. So I always talk about in this book how I have this method called the AIR method, The air method basically specifies that the first time something happens, it's a potential accident. The second time something happens, it's a potential coincidence. And the third or more time that it happens, it's a pattern in practice. Okay. So anytime you see any instance of racism or even Samboism, right? Like you can always charge it to it being this pattern that's showing up. And I see that there's a pattern in the way that they kind of lift up a lot of these individuals in these tethers specifically we're talking about that disrespect our culture. People who, you know, cosplay us, people who disrespect us in the media, who say things about us on places like Twitter or TikTok or X, or now I guess is what the fuck it's called. Like, you know, you see patterns of these types of individuals. I mean, for example, we could talk about like a lot of these long distance tethers I'm telling you about right now, but let's think about, for example, Cynthia Erivo. Cynthia Erivo is a great example. She's someone who tried to shit on foundational Black Americans in the lineage. And immediately she got put into all these different roles. She was doing Harriet. She was cosplaying our culture. You know what I'm saying? She was in Wicked. She had the 2 Wicked movies and she was looking crazy in that. And it's like, and at a certain point, I'm like, it's almost like a humiliation ritual that she's allowing herself to even be put through. I mean, you got her looking crazy. She over there, she looks like a chocolate Lord Voldemort from Harry Potter. I mean, she just looks fucking stupid. But going back, Cynthia Erivo is a good example of this shit. Another good example of this shit as well too is like what's the little Asian chick's name? The one that like was trying to mimic the cadence of Black women. Why can't I think of her name right now? She was in Shang-Chi. Like, I'm having a brain fart, y'all. If y'all could tell me like what is her name? It was Asian chick. God, well, I'm gonna look it up because that's gonna bother the hell out of me. Let's see. Shang-Chi actress. Aquafina. Yep, y'all got it. Y'all got it before me. Aquafina. Yep, that's it. Yep, that's another good example of that. You know, and even when you think about Ariana Grande, and then they'll like put these motherfuckers in the same movies. You had Ariana Grande in there. She was mimicking Black women. You know, you had her and Cynthia Erivo acting like they're best friends and shit. So yeah, they know the types of people to pick to kind of do these types of things. So I think that to a certain extent, some of these long distance tethers, you know, are acting the way that they're acting because they want to get chose. You know, yeah, like somebody says Zoe Saldana. See, Zoe Saldana, she's like on her own like quest, like that's almost separate from them. Like she does it a little more implicitly than some of these other people, but Zoe Saldana is just looking for some Vienna sausage. I mean, it isn't really as simple as that. Zoe Saldana is trying to just get chose by white dudes because notice every film that she's in, she's always up under some white dude. I mean, think about it. This was happening in From Scratch. This shit was happening in Guess Who. This shit was even happening when she wasn't even a fucking human. She was under underneath the white zaddy. She was doing that shit in fucking Avatar. She was doing it in Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, I could just go on. Her thing, she don't even need to be a goddamn human to be swirling. But anyway, yeah. So someone said Candace Owens, yeah. But yep. So going back though, anyway, they thanked Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo for enduring racism versus simply just apologizing to them for what ended up happening. And I also didn't really like that too. By the way, before we go on, I would love it if you could hit the super chat for me. Please hit the super chat if you are enjoying tonight's discussion. We still got a lot more to talk about here. And I definitely want to get real hot with some of these examples and whatnot. So please hit the super chat for me. And I see here, speaking of that, we got J Joe 4040 who gave me a super chat here. Shout out to you. Much appreciated. He said, blurbs let really make the white supremacist fume this Black History Month. Go grab Milestone Comics, DC, Dakota, Incident. We can get a new Static Shock show. Much respect to you. Yeah, I'm always about promoting like, you know, Black comic books and whatnot. And as a lot of you all know, like I'm in the process of creating my own. eventually. And that's something like when I start talking about the membership and whatnot, that's something that I'm going to be getting into more. But speaking of that too, this is something I meant to tell you all earlier. I know I'm kind of going off topic, but I just didn't want to forget. With the membership, today I'm going to be posting 2 videos for you all to check out with that. I'm going to be talking about I'm going to be elaborating on the Tachina Arnold colorism thing, because I made a video about how Ari Lennox was complaining about Martin being a colorist show. So I have some points where I elaborated on that. And I had also a video that I did where I elaborated on a video where I talked about my thoughts on white writers creating black characters. So that'll be coming up like sometime later tonight, just so y'all know. I just wanted to say that real quick. But anyway, but yeah, shout out to you, J. Joe, for the donation. Much appreciated. Now, going back, and I see Marcus Bowden popped in. Appreciate you, bro. Glad I, in parentheses, barely caught the stream. Man, it seemed like you fully caught it, because the minute you popped in is actually around when I started. But either way, I appreciate you coming through. I do appreciate the super chat as well, too. Much respect to you. And we got more stuff to get into. Let's see. Somebody said, yep, Drumline was the only movie I believe, but she did star in a movie in 2002 with Nelly that had a black cast that she was in. It's like, it's just, I get what you're saying, but it was like, few and far between. I think that, the ones where, she was with a black love interest were like kind of where it kind of kicked off her career. See, the great minds think alike, because my sis said the same thing that I had just said, which is she used that role in Drumline to get put on. Exactly. Like that was like the kickoff of her career, because after that, that's how she ended up in these other random ass movies and shit, or TV shows where, again, she was she was trying to go after this addict. But anyway, going back, so remember what I said in my video yesterday. Accountability is like kryptonite to the male monsters. They spend more time trying to explain away racism than they did give a sincere apology to Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo. That's one of the things that I noticed. Sometimes, like these white supremacists, they tell you exactly how they feel through the way that they sometimes don't apologize when they've been caught red-handed. So this idea of explaining things away, this idea of, trying to focus on, the idea that you're not being racist, trying to focus on someone's ability to endure punishment, that being like the 2 brothers that were on stage. They focus on everything but the fact that they did some shit that they weren't supposed to do, and they allowed that shit to go on, and just apologizing about it, or just not letting the shit happen in the first place. So they do a lot of that type of stuff. I also, in a few videos, stated that you should pay attention to what I call the cult of defensive racism. It's a cult because whether it's them or a fellow male menace who commits an act of racism, they try to scramble to defend it. Because here's the thing, random audience members didn't need apologies, right? Like, they were apologizing to the audience more than they were to Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo. They were the ones who were actually racially attacked, yet they were the ones who were not apologized to by BBC, and they really should have been the ones who did that. I mean, these motherfuckers were in there apologizing to the goddamn ears of a bunch of grown-ass men and women, which, and that's the thing. Here's the thing. A lot of the people in the audience, like, a lot of them probably weren't even black, right? They probably had a bunch of speculated white supremacists in the audience too, sounding like motherfucking Mary Poppins and shit. And a lot of them probably were the same or worse than the fucking people who put all this shit together and let it happen. So my thing is, you're apologizing to them. Like, how the fuck are you going to apologize to a bunch of other suspected white supremacists on behalf of for the idea of racism? That's some ridiculous shit to me. So yeah, and then I see Liquid Sunshine came through here. Shout out to you. And I've been seeing your comments in here. You've been going in heavy. Keep going. We got time to talk. Let's go. Like the hype. Much appreciated. Of course. Yeah, we got a lot more to talk about. We got a lot more to chop it up. I got a little story I got to tell y'all too. Let's see. Marcus, thank you for supporting the channel. Yep, I appreciate you doing that too. And and going in and letting people know to support and thanking people. Much appreciated. Nick Cannon had a lot of hype too. She was definitely going to be seen by more compared to the other film. Yep. Your content is interesting and alarming. You got some good takes on racism and how Hollywood, as well as WWE, treat black men and women. Much respect, first of all, for that. And second, yeah, you know, I try to look at this from an analytical standpoint. You know, the system of racism is something that is kind of covert, right? It's very covert in 2026. So that means that we're going to have to look at examples of the way this shows up. So, and this is for those of you all who like have not watched some of my other videos. But I've been doing this series where I've been tackling a lot of these individuals in WWE, specifically these white wrestlers who a lot of people have hailed as heroes. And I've been tackling whether or not they are racist. And so I have like this criteria that I use. And my main thing is one act of blatant racism makes you a racist. No question about it. 3 acts of suspected white supremacy make you a racist. And then if you have the minute that I even talk about you, the minute that I even like put you on the stand and I'm talking like shit about like what you have done and I'm analyzing that, automatically you're already at suspected white supremacist. There's no like no, because the fact that I even had to discuss it like is already problematic, because otherwise there would be no reason for me to even bring you up. There's no reason to cause that level of drama and sensationalism if there wasn't something serious that needed to be discussed. So I have a criteria. I have a criteria for that. Let's see here. Shout out to you, Liquid Sunshine. Liquid Sunshine. Let me get your name right. I'm talking so much, I'm stumbling over words and shit. Shout out to you, Liquid Sunshine. Gifted 5 Cool Colas memberships. I very much appreciate that. Very, very much appreciate that. Shout out to you. Let's see here. They've always had egos, but it seems now they are running out of screws to give when it comes to their prejudice. They are. Britain is racist. I live here and I'm black. Shout out, first of all, to the brothers who are in Great Britain right now. So that's first thing I want to say. Second thing I want to say is I can believe it. See, when I do a lot of those videos where I talk about workplace racism, one of the things that I hear a lot from y'all, like over there in England, is like there's a lot of racism in the workplace. And I bet that shit is real passive aggressive. Like I can just imagine it because there's a certain accent, a certain way they speak and shit. I can just tell that the stuff that they do is real slick and real fucked up. Like it really just does not surprise me when you all told me that. But yeah, it's definitely that way over here. But I can tell that it mirrors what's happening over there in London. Let's see here. So I have Jib Star who came in. What up, Cola? I'm not sure if you know about Vinny Jr. He's a black man and also a victim of racial abuse, but has a white girlfriend. Does he have the right to be upset? First of all, I want to say shout out to you for the super chat. Much appreciated for that. So that's the first thing I was going to say. Second thing I was going to say is, as far as being a victim of racial abuse, I think that people who are victims of racial abuse have the right to be upset about it because it just shouldn't happen. But there are certain things that you can do to prevent it from happening further. And one of the things that I always encourage is if you are going to get a partner, I encourage pro-black relationships. I encourage a black person to be with a black person. I do not necessarily recommend you to get with somebody who is of another race. Now, I will say, if you feel like you found somebody who's cool, who's of another race, and you think that they like you for you, then go ahead, do your thing. I'm happy for you. But it comes with a lot of different things. And oftentimes that you end up having racism happen in your own relationship, because there's a lot of people I've been seeing lately who've been trying to defend this shit. And they're like, well, if this white person has a black partner, that means they ain't racist. That's some bullshit. Sometimes they're the most racist. Lily fucking Gaddis was doing blackface on her channel, and Lily Gaddis hopped on all types of motherfucking Twix bars, you know? She is a soul pole lover. She has the worst case of jungle fever that I had probably seen from somebody who is an open racist. And she literally is, again, racist. So while I think that it's messed up and it should not happen, and I think nobody should be racially accosted because it's not fair, I do think that there's some things that could have been prevented, you know, if that ended up happening. So that's kind of my take on it. I'm not upset. I also say this too. If somebody was racially accosted, you know, while they're in their own relationship and they're not on some like Sambo shit, they're not going around talking cash shit about the black community, then I probably would feel more bad for them than somebody who's in an interracial relationship and then they're talking shit about us. Like they're really doing the swirling shit. You know, it's like I'm in this relationship and I'm no longer kind of prioritizing blackness in my relationships, but I still talk shit about you niggas. That's just not cool to me. That's where I draw the line, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. So let's see here. Okay, so we gonna get you up out of here, Drew. Drew, you probably somewhere eating out of a jar of mayonnaise right now. We gonna get you up out of here. Talking about you mad because you better than me. At what? At what? Your genetics are recessive. Anyway, as I was saying, so it says so here's the other thing too. I think somebody said here, great explanation, brother. Appreciate you. Personally, as a black king, I need my black queen. That's how I am. That's how I am. No such thing as sexually transmitted anti-racism. Kid Rock has a biracial daughter. Exactly. So now let's talk about this story, okay? Because like, yeah, people are trying to derail and troll and shit. I'll never forget a few years ago, I was at this restaurant in Cornelius, North Carolina, okay? And that probably already sets the tone by me even saying I was in Cornelius, North Carolina. There was a sister who was in the back of this restaurant and she was eating her food. Okay. And this was like some breakfast spot that I was at. There was this white dude who was sitting 2 seats that was away from her, right? And he ended up bothering her. And he told her that, you know, her smacking, because when she was eating, I guess she was smacking a little bit. I'm be honest with you, I didn't hear it enough. So it must not have been that bothersome because I personally didn't hear it and I was just as far away from her as he was. But like because I was a little bit further up where she was in the back and then he was like two seats away. He was talking about how like she was smacking and it bothered her, and then he started kind of mocking her, and he was like, "It's like I just keep hearing it smack, 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 smack over and over again." So I'm like, "No, this motherfucker didn't just sit there. No, this mayonnaise eating ass motherfucker didn't just sit there and mimic this sister right in her face because he didn't like the fact that she was smacking. Ain't that about a bitch?" So then the sister ended up gathering his ass, and it was the most respectful gather I think I've ever seen. She told him respectfully, "I was here long before you even got here. And if you don't like the sound of me eating, then there are other seats here that you can choose to move to if it bothers you that much." And then she just continued doing her fucking thing. And I ain't mad at her. I'm like, I just sat there, I was clapping. I was like, bravo, bravo, queen, bravo. So she was in there, she was gathering this motherfucker. He didn't even know what to say. He was just like, "Okay, man, shut your ass up. You shouldn't even said shit." Because like, here's the thing too. It was just open because it was really early, and it was only like 3 or 4 of us in this restaurant because it was me, it was this speculated white supremacist, it was the black woman, and it was like one other like chick that was somewhere kind of on the other side of the restaurant. So I think she was like Hispanic or whatever, right? And so yeah, she ended up gathering this dude, and it was so bad he didn't even know what the fuck to say because of how bad she had ripped into him. And here's the thing too. He ended up coming up later, and he kind of tried to do this mild like half-ass apology shit. And he said, "You know, I only was just coming up to you because you know, I just have this thing where sometimes I hear noises and blah 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 blah." It's like, motherfucker, you didn't need to say shit, okay? If you really have something going on that's that bad, you didn't need to come to a fucking restaurant where people literally eat food and they fucking smack. That's fucking ridiculous, dude. Like, you don't get your own entitled ass up out of here. So anyway, he said these folks can't help themselves. We can't even eat in peace. She was minding her own fucking business, y'all. Like, she was in there, like, because I watched her. She was minding her own business. She was on like a tablet or something like that. And then she was like, I guess she had smacked a few times. Now, mind you, I may have heard it once, but it wasn't anything that was crazy, right? So he was just bitching, and how the audacity to go up to somebody in public and say you're smacking annoys me. You're lucky that she didn't smack the fuck out of you. Shit. But anyway, so I told this story on Threads, right? Tell me why the first thing these individuals in the dominant society did was get in my comments and they started whining about how, he could have a disability that caused him to, start pulling that white privilege card and shit. So that was the first thing people, well, not everybody. There's a lot of people who were defending this shit and they're saying, bravo, like me, like everybody was congratulating her and shit. But there were people in there who were defending him. I'm like, y'all wasn't even there. Y'all defending the motherfucker, and you weren't even there to see this shit happen. Ain't that about a bitch? Like, that's what I said. They implicitly defend each other. And I noticed this too, because everybody's on this big thing about individualism. You handle your own battles, you fight your own battles, this and that, yada, yada, yada. But I noticed something about the dominant society. When it comes to that R word, the racism word, I noticed that they're quick to come to each other's defenses. So all that shit about individualism, fight your own battles, nobody's gonna save you, yada yada. All of a sudden, they're coming to save each other like everybody's motherfucking Superman. All of a sudden, everybody is a fucking Captain Save-A-Ho. Like everybody is a Captain Save a lice warrior. All of a sudden, and the reason why I believe that they do this type of shit is because their whole motive, their whole ideal, their whole thing is, when it comes to this idea of racism, they picture themselves in the person who is being called out for being racist, right? So a lot of them see themselves in that. So they're quick to try to defend somebody when they're accused of racism. Their thing is, oh shit, this could be me. I do the same thing as this racist ass mayonnaise eating ass motherfucker, right? I do the same fucking thing. So my thing is, I'm putting myself in this person's shoes. All of a sudden, empathy becomes a fucking thing, right? Y'all's boy Charlie Kirk was sitting there talking about he doesn't believe in empathy and all that. This person all of a sudden has empathy out of nowhere. And the reason why is because they know in a hot second that could be them. And I just talked about this on the video. Think about when I did the video on Ric Flair, and I told y'all that Ric Flair's motherfucking ass is racist. Okay. In that video, I talked about how he defended Hulk Hogan. And when he defended Hulk Hogan, it was because he saw Hulk Hogan as his mirror. Hulk Hogan was almost this dude who represented what could have been him. Because what if somebody would have sat around and they would have recorded him calling Teddy Long a Hardy R, right? Just like Hulk Hogan was recorded saying the Hardy R a bunch of times. Okay. So he saw himself in Hulk Hogan at that moment. That's why he's like, everybody makes mistakes. He paid the price, yada, 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 because it's like, yeah, my ass could have paid the price. He was a mirror for him. Great minds think alike again. You said, my sis said, I mirror that back with the collective. At times, to my dismay, I still do anyway because I know it's important. Yeah, it's like a mirror. Let's see here. What up? What's up, James Leon? Appreciate you coming through. Somebody said, saw Trick Willie on ESPN. Not gonna lie, you were right. This lemon pepper stepper fake pimp gimmick is getting made fun of by the dominant. They like to do little like silly gimmicks and shit with black people. They like them to be like these weird ass stereotypes. Because here's the thing too. Originally, the video that I was going to do tonight was actually going to be about how a lot of these black female wrestlers, if you notice, a lot of them are in these like ghetto black girl stereotypes. A lot of them are. Now, they try to differentiate it a little bit. And I'll be honest, I love the black female wrestlers. I think that they're incredible in WWE. But it's common that they want a lot of them to be a ghetto stereotype. And sometimes it came off cringy. Matter of fact, the times that it didn't were when they were at the best of their career. And then that part of their character ended very suddenly. Like, so for example, if you look at, Bianca Belair, Bianca Belair ended up breaking her finger, but you could see that her character was developing into something different when she had that storyline with Jade and Naomi. And with Naomi and the PWC, like the Proceed with Caution gimmick, that was a little different than what we had seen from Naomi in the past. Because before you had Naomi like talking about snatching people bald, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is just, they're trying to do some like weird cringy hood rat shit. Like, it's just strange. But my point is that they had them all in this black girl, in this ghetto black girl gimmick. And they like to do that with a lot of them. Think about like with Ron Simmons and how he was supposed to be a serious character. Then he got relegated to just saying, damn, like that ended up becoming the thing that he was known for. They like doing little shit like that. They like for us to be these little like goofballs that are either really silly or we're a exploited version of like a hood dude or a pimp or something like that. One of these stereotypes that are just ridiculous. They like to do that with us. So anyway, yeah, and it went when this whole thing went down. Yeah, like in the comments, there were a lot of like of these people in the dominant society who were explaining. I mean, they were explaining real bad. I'm like, y'all didn't even see this dude. Y'all weren't even there, and you're already defending him. The minute that I just tell you all that he just bothered this black woman who was minding her own fucking business. Like, and that's why I'm glad that she gave him the business. That's where I was at with it. And here's the thing, too, I just gotta say, because I said it earlier, newsflash, fool, newsflash, disability or not, you don't get preferences when you are in public with these types of things. It is simple as that. You don't get preferences. You don't get to go up to somebody and say, I have this thing, stop smacking. Okay, that's some I'm white and I say so type shit that I think what Tariq always talks about. That's what that shit is. No, you don't get to do that. But what I just don't like about all this, these speculated white supremacists and then their Sambo flunkies are just quick to humanize them. But where is the humanization of black folks when they have disabilities, when they have mental illnesses? This is something that we just don't see from the dominant society. Anytime a black person has a mental illness or disability, these speculated white supremacists use that as a justification as to why they deserved it. Then they will come up with these random facts to justify the killing later, or they'll try to stretch the truth. I mean, think about the Jordan Neely situation. That's a perfect example of this. They try to justify this brother basically being taken out. And then on top of that, too, they said, well, he had a rap sheet and he was a criminal and he was this and he was that. So he doesn't get to be mentally ill. He doesn't get to be somebody who was just shouting things out loud on the bus. Like, he doesn't get to be any of that type of stuff, right? They don't get to humanize him. But we have to humanize a dude who has Tourette's, right? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And I guarantee if that were someone black, that grace would not have been extended. They would have gotten him up out of there, and that just would have been the end of it. The dominant society were the same racists who loved on and glazed Donald Trump, despite him going out of his way to make fun of people with disabilities when he did his first presidential run, you know? And all of a sudden, many of them are trying to act like they're disability advocates. Y'all's asses aren't. You're just using what you can for your next fucking excuse. That's really all it comes down to, right? Like, anytime that they have to find a way to try to justify racism, they try to grab onto the nearest thing that they can find. It's like somebody breaks into your crib and you don't have your gun near you. So you're like, all right, I'm about to pick up this goddamn toaster and hit you in the motherfucking face. Anytime they hear anything about racism, they're picking up whatever weapon they can find and they're using it. And it's to the point where they start contradicting their damn selves. That's what I noticed about them. Let's see. Wrestlers got to put their foot down and demand better. That's the thing, too. I don't like where a lot of them are going to. The one thing that scared me, bro, and I'm going to say this, if you look at like that interview that Montez Ford did with Montez Ford and Angela Dawkins did with Cameron, I didn't like the way that was going. That told me that these are young brothers, right? Like, these brothers are around my age. These brothers are around my age, and they're already showing signs of the shit that Booker T is doing, the shit that R-Truth is doing, the shit that Devon Dudley is doing. They're already showing signs of doing that, and they're young. That's not a good look, because you're supposed to set the example. Or if they are playing a game and playing a chess move, as a lot of people like to try to allude to with black folks now, you know, it's going to be way down the line. But me personally, just the way it looks, they're already placating already. You know what I mean? And like, they're being treated like shit. And let's be real, Montez Ford is one of the best wrestlers that I have ever seen on the roster. We all know it. It's so bad. Even folks in the dominant society admit that he is one of the best wrestlers. That's how bad it is. Like, they'll be like, oh, I'll talk about Xavier. They're like, I don't know about Xavier Woods. Like, you know, they'll talk about when I said Apollo Crews was a great wrestler, they say I don't know about him. But as soon as I say Montez, even the people in the dominant society admit that he is a phenomenal wrestler. You know, for me, it's more so about camaraderie and understanding that it's okay for us to support one another in chats to try to wake them up will be geared towards our youth more. For sure. For sure. Adults have to want to hear to comprehend. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. Triple K is draining them. He is. Cornelius, damn, sounds sus. Yeah, like I said, the minute I said Cornelius, I know everybody was about to, well, anybody who's familiar with North Carolina, I'll say, probably would have been like, yeah, I can see why that happened there. Because Cornelius is over there by Lake Norman. So that's like Cornelius. Mooresville is kind of close to there, even though Mooresville got some black people. Huntersville, like that area. And like for anybody who's familiar with North Carolina, it's over there. It's a lot of white folks over there, basically. Going back though, when I think I was talking about the whole black people don't get the same grace, but with these, like, yeah, speculate white supremacists is always an excuse. They always try to, you know, play like what happened wasn't racism, it wasn't this, it wasn't that. It wasn't racism, it was a disability. It wasn't racism, it was that this person was like, for example, at a job, they got fired because they're a bad worker. It wasn't racism, it was just somebody being mean. Like they always try to find something to grab onto when it comes to trying to sway things away from racism. And that's what I said. Notice that they don't just do it when they're being accused of racism. They do it when other people are being accused of racism. That's why I said it's funny how they push this culture of individualism and everybody fending for themselves, but then they quickly go back to defending each other the minute racism comes up. I told you all this, and this is something I'm just gonna keep saying until I'm blue in the fucking face. When it comes to racism, right? When it comes to covert racism and whatnot, the one thing that you all need to understand is that you're never going to get, you know, direct evidence of these things, right? You're always going to have to keep looking and seeing when, you know, something seems off, right? Because a lot of them are trying to hide their racism because they know that the minute that they get labeled a racist, that it hurts their money. That's what it simply comes down to. The minute that a white person is accused of racism and someone's able to prove that what they did might be racist, then they know that this is a possibility. This is something that could possibly hurt their bag. Because we live in a world that is waking up. I'm going to be honest with you. We live in a world that is socially conscious or becoming more socially conscious. And as a result, people are waiting for somebody to do something that is racist and they're going to call it out. And so when they get called out, they're afraid that all their money is going to go. I don't give a fuck if your money goes. Let's see you fucking destitute if you're going to mistreat somebody on the basis of their skin color, right? And really their DNA, if I'm being honest with you, because I'm not even going to relegate to skin color. But my point is that, you know, at the end of the day, that the reason why they act that way is because they know it's going to hurt their pockets. And also too, they know that if somebody else, you know, is being accused of racism, that hurts the system's pockets. That hurts the system of white supremacy's pockets. So that's why they do that. Racism has no borders. It's practically in every type of niche community. It's in every area of activity, literally. Literally every area of activity has racism. It's dominated by racism. It's really as simple as that. And here's the thing: I hear a lot of people going, and it's a lot of those, like those little Rice Krispie Raiders, but a lot of them are going on and they're saying shit like, you know, you're always talking about racism. It's always racism, dude. It's always racism. You guys are professional victims, dude. Like they love to do that bullshit. And the thing is that if you really look online, there's barely anybody who's really calling it out. The only people who are really calling these types of things out are new black media. Every now and again, you'll get some black person randomly who will do it when there's a blatant instance of racism going on. And people like me. Outside of that, everybody else is like, do I look like a victim? Do I look like a victim? Like everybody is acting like that. So it's really not happening. They're projecting something that's just not fucking there. For the most part, there's a lot of us who are trying to make it seem like it's not racism because we don't want to come off that way. But I don't really give a fuck what these people think about me. I'm going to tell the truth, because here's the thing, and I keep telling people, because a lot of people ask me, like, why am I so open and willing to kind of talk about racism and when people have done racist things. And I look at it and I'm like, I've been raised in every possible way to be the most successful person ever as a Black person. And still racism was a factor that stunted me having the opportunities that I needed to have to be the most successful person that I could be. So what that told me was, it wasn't just me working hard. It wasn't just me being the best student. It wasn't me just doing, the best that I could at whatever job. It wasn't as simple as that. I was always going to have that as a barrier, no matter how hard I worked or how hard I did not work. That's why I have no qualms about calling this bullshit out, because I realize that it isn't a fair system. And the reason why it's not fair is because there's racism going on. Okay. It's all about somebody said it's all in your skin. It's in your skin. But going back, the thing is, when they unalive, and I hate that I have to keep saying this shit, because if I say, the K word too much, start flagging stuff like that. When they unalive someone Black, it wasn't racist. The thing is, it wasn't racist because of the fact that they're trying to say, like, oh, that person was a criminal. They're trying to say it wasn't racism because they were criminal, or they had an oopsie daisy, or they shot somebody too quickly, or whatever. It's always like an excuse that they're trying to make up when it comes to why something happened or why they had to use deadly force on a Black person. Sorry, I stumbled on my words for a second. I was trying to get out what I was trying to say. But yeah, they always try to use some type of excuse. Or it's always when a random civilian is racist, it's not the racism. They are just a bad person, or they aren't racist. They are just defending themselves, or they aren't racist. The Black person was already planning a premeditated attack. It's always some shit like that going on. Let's see here. I love the content. Always been going through BS here in San Francisco. I don't hold my tongue for idiots ever now. And you absolutely shouldn't. First of all, shout out to you for the super chat. I absolutely, you 100% should not do that. You definitely need to call these things out. We need more people who are not going to be scared to do that, because there's a lot of people, again, who are just on this I'm not trying to look like a victim. They're on that bullshit. Stop all that shit. Okay, stop all that victim shit. First of all, you are a victim. You're a victim of racism. That's just the bottom line. The first step to trying to move past something is to admit it. Isn't that what they always say? That's really the truth, right? You are. And the thing is that a lot of people are trying to say personal accountability is going to counteract all that. You can be the most successful person ever, and they're still going to find ways to try to kick you while you're up, right? That's just what it kind of comes down to. Because if it was all about personal accountability and us pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps, then I always have to go back and look at Black Wall Streets. Well, what happened to all of them, right? We do that shit again, they're going to try to tear that shit right back down again. So it's not about fucking like personal accountability as much as people are trying to project. I just think people are trying to not seem like they're in a position where they sound weak. And the thing is that we are still doing the stuff that we need to do. We are still going in. We are still like going around and trying to handle our business. There's a lot of us who are doing things. But here's the bottom line though. The bottom line though is that racism is still going to be a factor that affects you being even more successful than you already are. Let's see here. So shout out here to Claude Neely Francis Amos 1. The European will never give up their social control of us. The only thing that'll change is their justifications or excuses for their control. And I appreciate you capitalizing that. White supremacy priority is maintaining control. Dr. Amos Wilson. Absolutely. You're 100% correct. And just that statement alone even confirms what I'm saying, which is that, all of these excuses and justifications are for them to maintain control and for that system to be able to continue to stay afoot. I told you, like the dominant society, the way they operate, it's almost like them taking a shit and then molding that motherfucker and putting frosting on it and calling that motherfucker a chocolate cake. They have all this shit that they've racked up from all the things that they've done, and then they again try to make it into something that it's not to cover up the bullshit. And every now and again, you take a slice of that and you realize that shit is shit. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's kind of like that with them. See, I don't think that at all. LOL. They are way too obsessed with us. Yep, silent victims. And I'm glad you don't think like that, sis, because the reality is that there's nothing wrong with calling out an injustice. This is one thing that I've always told people, because I've always wondered why I've been that type of person to just say, because I've been like this since I grew up. Things never sat right with me when something wrong went down. Like I always believe in fairness and treating people right and calling things out that aren't right and holding people accountable. And I always felt like I was somebody who was a person who cared about trying to snuff out bullshit and injustices. And I was always amongst people who were these "it is what it is" type of people. There are some things that are out of your control, obviously, but there's some things that people are just kind of giving up already. And for me, I've never been the type of person where it just sat right in my spirit to let some shit go down that just didn't feel right. Like that just was never me. So yeah, that's what I've always basically been on. Let's see here. Do you guys believe in the society being patriarchal or post-racial? I thought I almost said now I can't fucking read. I thought that said patriarchal, post-racial, in let's say 300 years from now, with the mixing facilitated by the coon professional athletes out there. So, okay. I think that it's really hard to say what I think would happen. I think that it's clear that the dominant society and their birth rates being lower, I think that's just a fact. So that's something that is just not really debatable, to be honest with you. So I think that there could be some truth in that potentially being a thing. But I try not to think about it that far because I don't know what factors and what things are going to happen. So that's just kind of my thing. I think that when it just comes down to that type of theory, there's some things that would support that becoming a thing. But as far as like the athletes and stuff like that, it's not enough of them like dating outside of their race, right? That would offset that and that become a problem. Because here's the thing with the athletes, a lot of them, like, they highlight the ones that date white women and stuff like that, but there's a lot of athletes that are dating sisters, right? Like a very high amount, actually. So I don't even think that that's as high as people are projecting alone, right? So that's just that's how I see that. Let's see. Cool Cost is such a great role model. God bless his marriage and finance. I really appreciate that, actually, Jovial. I really appreciate that, for real. But yeah, no, for me, it's all about just doing the right thing and calling things out that just aren't cool. I've always been like that. It's very important for me to seek justice in a lot of situations. And I like I said, I just been around other people where they don't do that. A lot of people are very "it is what it is" types of people. I just can't operate like that. It's important for me to call out things that aren't right. And I don't like pretending like things are something that they're not, I didn't get racially conscious till 2017 at 18 years old, but spiritually conscious as a whole till 23. Don't feel bad if that's what you were trying to do. Don't feel bad. I'll say this too. For me, the pro-black views and whatnot, I didn't really start embracing them until probably around 2016 was the first time I really felt like my mind was shifting a bit. And I didn't really fully come into like a lot of the knowledge that I have right now, probably till after about 2021. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think we all start somewhere, and a lot of us didn't have parents who really gave us the game. We had to kind of like just start studying different people and some of the stuff that they were doing and just learn things on our own. We had to learn by trial and error a lot of times. There's some people who did have, conscious families and stuff like that, but I personally did not have that. I will say that I always grew up like around black people and stuff like that. My neighborhood was I wouldn't say 100% black, but mostly black. And I grew up in black schools, like elementary school, some of middle school and stuff like that. So I grew up around black people, but not like the mindset and stuff like that. It wasn't there, But going back though, yeah, when it comes to black people, and if they were to do all the stuff that old boy had did at the BAFTA Awards, they wouldn't be making all these dumbass excuses. They wouldn't be doing this shit at all. The reality is, like, even considering that, the people who need to be blamed the most in this situation is the BBC. Not only do I feel like they're being disingenuous, I believe that what they did was orchestrated. It's plain and simple. What they did was no accident. The BAFTAs aren't live. They are pre-recorded, right? They had time to get rid of my man saying the hard ER. They could have literally just gotten rid of that, but they kept it in there. And because to me, like, they could have chosen to do that, because again, they choose to do what they want already. So even with the Free Palestine thing, they already were getting that up out the paint. So they could have done the same thing with the racial slur. I believe that they allowed this to happen because this was a way to create a humiliation ritual. Ryan Coogler made history with this win. And they were trying to find a way to throw salt on that. And they were trying to also sensationalize this big moment that really was a win for foundational Black Americans and Black people. And honestly, this really was a shot, a slap in the face, even to people in the diaspora to a certain extent, because again, you had Delroy Lindo up on stage, and they racially accosted him. But it was mostly a thing against foundational Black Americans because of the fact that, again, this was a foundational Black American themed film. But regardless, this was a shot at Black people, as a whole. It was a way to take a big moment for Black people and to make it so that it was attached to controversy, Not to be funny, they should change the name BBC. I agree. That it's kind of, every time I say it, it's kind of weird. It makes me think of the corn on the cob industry. See, I gotta be careful with that. I hate all this damn editing. It makes me think of the corn on the cob industry, if you know what I'm talking about. See, I'm non-FBA. See, I didn't even know you were a rap god. I didn't even know you were a non-FBA. I'm non-FBA and I support FBA culture. Respect to you, since being born and raised here in Miami. Yeah, respect to you. Like I said, I respect all the riders who like I said, who ride with foundational Black Americans and embrace the culture. I really appreciate that. Let's see here. Same here with my upbringing. I'm FBA and Nigerian, but most FBA culturally. Oh yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I'm 100% FBI. My family is I think I said this in another video. Mississippi and North Carolina. I got family in Edwards, Mississippi, and family in Wake Forest, North Carolina. So yeah, let's see here. You're Haitian. Okay, got you. That's what's up. Shout out to Haiti. Let's see. They also didn't expect to receive blowback. Yep. No, they probably did not the way that it happened, because you had some people who were like known Sambos who were calling their asses out. I kind of peeped that shit as well too. It wasn't just like people who were on code who were speaking about this. I mean, you can go on there right now. You can see people just going the fuck in that this shit happened. That's because a lot of people are waking up. Even some of the Sambos are like, hey, this wasn't cool. I even see some of those them folks in London calling that shit out. So let's see here. North Carolina in the house, 252. That's what's up. Shout out to you. Somebody said Mississippi. Yes, indeed. Yep. My grandma. Yep, she was from Edwards, Mississippi. Let's see here. What else did I need to talk about? What else? I had a few other things too. But yeah, going back to what I was saying about the whole thing with Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo. They were trying to have this happen where, like, anytime somebody talks about their win or the win with sinners and all this other stuff, they also have to talk about what old boy did. So it's a way to always keep putting him in the picture, or just the controversy aspect of it, putting that in the picture while also talking about, you know, our win as a culture. You know, it was kind of put those two things together. And the thing too is it now gives again attention to the little Scottish suspected white supremacist who said he had Tourette's. And you know, he's already being safeguarded. You know, he's not being held accountable or anything like that. And again, you have a lot of these Sambo pygmies who are online and they're kind of defending it. I mean, you saw one that just kind of crept up into the chat, you know, talking about some I'm discriminating against people who have disabilities. Ain't nobody trying to discriminate against somebody who has a disability. It's just not an excuse for racism. And it's just simple as that. I'm not mocking them. Now, if I was sitting around mocking someone with a disability, then yeah, I'd be out of pocket because that's not cool. But I'm not. I'm talking about how it's not an excuse for racism. And it's simple. It's as simple as that. It's really not an excuse. My beautiful wife has come into the chat. I appreciate you, baby. Appreciate you coming through. How you doing? Let's see here. What do you think of people who try to act like we shouldn't be offended, like we don't have Black people with Tourette's? Like, are you saying like, what do I think about people who try to say we don't have a reason to call out the racism? Is that what you mean? And if that is what you mean, I would say that there's some Sambo shit going on. I think you can clearly see that it's important to talk about the racial aspect of this, because even if you didn't want to talk about dude with Tourette's, you still could put into question the BBC and at the BAFTA Awards. Like, you can still put that into question. So I would say it's Sambo shit because it's casting a blind eye over the entire thing versus one aspect of it. So even if you didn't want to talk about old boy, which I do still believe that he did some shit that he should not have done and that it was purposeful, we still have to contend with the idea that they allowed this shit to go on. So by saying that we shouldn't be talking about it is already ignoring that piece alone, which these individuals, like as far as I know, do not have disabilities. These are individuals who are well within their wits to not allow some shit like this to happen. Because here's the thing you have to understand. This wasn't one act of racism that went on. This was two acts of racism that went on. It was the act of racism that went on because of this Tourette's activist, and the act of racism that went on because of the BBC not censoring this racial slur that was stated. So by saying, oh, we shouldn't talk about it, is like saying we shouldn't talk about either one, which is bullshit. So when Michael B. Jordan confronted that Black female reporter, it speaks to the mamas or the mammies you referred to being present in all areas of Black male existence. Yep. So my specific term for these types of individuals are shea butter sambas. That's what I say. My term is shea butter sambas. And here's the thing that about these shea butter sambas. The shea butter sambas are they're presenting themselves a lot of times like they're pro-Black, but a lot of times they are agents for against like the Black community, specifically Black men. It's kind of like a secret enemy within, right? So that's the problem with them. But as far as like the chick with the Michael B. Jordan thing, I remember that thing. I never got to talk about that because my channel wasn't like up and running the way that it is now at that time. But when that happened, I was like, first of all, he played that shit smooth as fuck, number one. Like, I know there had to be that moment where you're like, I got that moment where I got to say, look where I'm at, and look where you're at. That probably was one hell of a moment for dude. I just first of all got to say that. He played that shit smooth as hell. Number two, then the bitch tried to lie. She was like, oh no, I didn't do that. Oh no, yeah, your ass did, bitch. Yes, you did. You said that shit. Like, you were just embarrassed because he called your ass out and you didn't think that he would. And on top of that too, he didn't even do it in a real dramatic way. He did that shit slick as hell. So, I mean, again, shout out to Michael B. Jordan for getting his moment. That's what I'm going to say about that. Let's see. Thank you for your breakdown. In all honesty, your channel is the content I actually enjoy and learn from. Keep up the good work, brother. Much appreciated. I'm glad to hear that. That's the whole purpose too. See, a lot of people, they come on, they do these things as entertainment. This is something that I thoroughly want people to get the game on, right? Like, and I always tell people, like, even when I do the roasting and stuff like that, that's just adding a little humor. But for the most part, my whole platform is about trying to keep people informed about the patterns that I see. And that's why I keep telling people, listen, you need to make sure that your discernment is on point, right? Being able to decipher the difference between two different things. Because with covert racism being on the uprise, things aren't what they seem, right? And we have to be able to identify how one thing is different than the other. That's extremely important because sometimes things that look like promotion are really racism or disrespect, right? So we need to, just be keen on these types of things. That's very important for us. But yeah, I just like giving people the game. So either way, yeah, much appreciated for you saying that. Now, the other thing too is sorry, I was trying to look at where I left off at. There was a couple other things I wanted to talk about. Um the thing is that like going back to that one person's comment about what if somebody was going around and saying that we shouldn't talk about these types of things. It's funny because I think my next point actually was about that. So my thing is you're just not going so you're just gonna request that black people not be sincere and show respect and stand up for our black brothers who went over there just to be racially attacked with a hate crime. Because the truth is that was a hate crime, right? Because if we would have did that to somebody who was not black, we would have did that to somebody who was white, somebody who was Asian, stop Asian hate, that type of thing. That would have been considered a hate crime. And there would have been this big old campaign about how this type of person is being attacked and that type of person is being attacked. Because let that be one of us. They would be in there talking about how quote unquote racist we are, even when we know damn well that we cannot fucking be racist. And it's just ridiculous. And the thing is that a lot of us also know too to just respect other people's turf. When we go over to places, we have decorum. Because even Michael B. Jordan, Delroy Lindo, when they were over there in London and even getting racial hate, I mean, they took it like a G. And I hate to say it like that because there should not be this thing of patting somebody on the back because they took punishment that they didn't deserve. But you saw the way that they were even respectful, even when they were being disrespected racially, right? So that's just how we are. So yeah. And the thing is, if we did this type of stuff, we'd be told we're committing hate crimes. And then you'll have these shea butter sambas, as I talked about, or some of these old Negroes who are probably somewhere sucking on some damn neck bones and voting for the Democrats so they can continue to get their fucking prescriptions at Walgreens or some shit. You'll have them walking around whining about how black folks don't know how to act and all this other stuff. Like, it would be that type of thing going on if we were doing what they did to us. Now, you can't talk about the win without talking about the racism because of what happened. And this is that passive aggressive shit that a lot of these UK brothers were talking about. The things that they said that they face at work and that they deal with these fucking mayonnaise and tea and crumpet eating motherfuckers who are walking around sounding like fucking Harry Potter and shit. This is the type of shit that they have to deal with over there. And what this shows you is that white supremacy is a global concept, and it's just as simple as that. And no matter where we go as black people, no matter what type of black people we are, we're going to be attacked. The thing is that and we go over to our turf, we're attacked by these American whites. We go over there, we're attacked by some raggedy tooth Bridgerton sounding motherfucker. Like that's what it ends up coming down to. Let's see here. People say tendernism, old ninja. Absolutely. I don't. Did you? Still I rise. Did you see the live video that I did on that topic? Because I actually talked about that, and I agree. I agree 100%. And I think they were trying to pull on the heartstrings of that type of shit. With the tendernism situation, they were trying to do this thing where because he was an old man and he kind of reminds you of like either your granddad or your uncle, that type of thing. He reminds you of somebody who was at like a family kind of cookout type of thing. He pulled on people's heartstrings. And I think that what people were saying is, well, I understand that this was like this Armenian man's business, but I want to make sure that I support tenderness. I'm like, stop all that shit. He's on some old nigga shit. No, don't. You wouldn't be supporting him. You'd be supporting this motherfucker who was trying to fucking appropriate the goddamn culture. Like, no, stop that bullshit. That's nothing. We gotta stop letting people like pull on our heartstrings on shit like that. That's why, like, I'm quick to call out old niggas. Old nigga shit is not acceptable and not excusable. Okay, and it's definitely not cute. Because a lot of people like to act like, oh, that days grew up in a time where days didn't know. Stop all that bullshit. They know exactly what the fuck they're doing. These old decrepit bastards know exactly what they're doing. And I'm not afraid to call that shit out. They knew what they were doing. They sold us out, and then they go and they do little shit like that. Because even with tenderness, I'm sitting there looking and I'm like, I was thinking that he maybe like was cool with this dude. Like they grew up, he saw him growing up or some shit. He met that man in fucking 2020, y'all. He knew that man maybe 5 or 6 years in total. So that level of commitment, he knows what he's doing. He's in his right mind. He's just not some old decrepit victim. He knew what the fuck he was doing. I'm just being honest with you. The problem is tendernism didn't understand he was a mascot. I think personally he's cool with being a mascot. My personal opinion. I think he's cool with being a mascot. Let's see here. Also, Armenian dude was hating and mad because Keith Lee wanted to give the tip money to old dude directly. Yep, I know. Yeah, he and that tells you a lot about, you know, the cultural appropriation, and then like that kind of like that low key level of kind of vitriol that was there. The fact that he didn't even want him to be successful, I guess, independently from him. He wanted to benefit from that as well. I think Kukolas a Virgo. Yo, that's weird. How the fuck did you know that? Actually, Jovial, I am a Virgo. How'd you know that? I'm curious. I kind of want to know why. How did you guess that? I am, but how did you guess that? Let's see here. Old ninjas need to focus on medicine. Oatmeal is my man said medicine and oatmeal. Hell no. I don't even know what to say to that. He said medicine and oatmeal, man. That's funny. And cheering from the sidelines. Baby boomers play games with Gen Z. They do. They play games with millennials as well, too. It's both of us. I peeped that. Let's see. Yo, King, you heard about what went down with Adonis, the YouTuber, when he knocked out? Yes, I did hear about that. I did hear about, and that's one of the fucked up things about going overseas. You know, it's like we go over there, we try to respect people's turf, like I said. I said that usually when we go to these places, we usually have like a certain level of decorum. A lot of people are going to try to point to the whole sassy trucker shit, but that's an anomaly. For the most part, when we go over to places, we respect people's turf. And you get into a situation like that, you end up kind of being in a situation where you're like, do I keep my dignity, or do I just choose to not defend myself? And I understand the need to defend yourself. I mean, that motherfucker spat on him. That's first of all, that's nasty as hell. And number two, that's some shit. You know, that I'm glad that he knocked him the fuck out. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm glad that happened, because somebody spit on me, I would be ready to fucking fight. So yeah, I'm with him, and I understand. I hope he's able to get up out of there, because, you know, for him to be locked up, it's like, you know, you get into some of these countries and, you know, you don't know what their rules are around getting locked up and what that looks like. Because, for example, you go over to Dubai and they are not fucking around with you with the stuff that you do. I mean, so and I'll tell y'all this real quick. So my wife and I, back in 2023, we went to Dubai, and they restrict about every fucking thing that you do. You got to be careful about what you say while you're over there on the internet. You got to be careful about what you wear as a woman and as a man. I want to repeat that. You have to be careful about what you wear as a woman and as a man. Okay? Because a lot of people are like, oh, women, they can't wear this, they can't wear that, they can't do this, they can't do that. The thing is that you can't wear certain shorts, like they can't be too short. You know, you can't take certain pictures. Like if you go over there, like there's like certain buildings, right? And they'll literally have like a camera that's crossed out on that bitch. And it's like that means you can't take a picture of that particular building, and it's considered a crime. You know, other stuff like homosexuality. So if somebody's gay, they can't go there holding hands and showing public displays of affection. They can't do shit like that. So they're real strict with their rules. So my point is that you go over there and then it's like you don't know what type of rules you'll get tied up in. A dark ghost said I would have walked away immediately after Duke got in my face. And honestly, I think it's one of those things where things probably escalated. And, you know, when you get into a situation like that and somebody like racially accosts you like that, because that was really fucked up. It's like, what do? Do I defend myself? Or do I let this motherfucker spit on me, or do I knock him the fuck out? And he chose to defend himself. I understand, but I just hate the idea that when you go over to that country, you don't know what the fuck you're going to deal with. So I hope he comes back safe and sound. Let's see that KG setup, bruh, over there. It's possible. It's possible. It's just like when you go overseas, like you just never know what you're gonna do with. So it's like it's important to do a few things if you choose to go overseas. Because I'm a person, I like to travel personally, so I really try to be conscious about the way that I move, who I interact with, and just some of the things that happen. Right. Gay or straight, I think PDA is so extra. You know, me and my wife, we hold hands. You know, we hold hands. We do our thing. You know, but as far as like the PDA thing, I think that like when you go over to countries and they're telling you that it's illegal, so to do this and that, it makes you kind of cautious and anxious to want to do that type of thing. Let's see here. Shout out to Banzier Light One. Appreciate you. Very much appreciate the super chat here. I just found your channel a few days ago. Thanks for the content. I'm glad you found me, first of all, and welcome to the Cool Click. But yeah, shout out to you for the donation there. Let's see here. He's behind enemy lines, so of course they will blame him and protect the white supremacists who assaulted him. Yeah, I kind of knew it would go down like that. It's just like when you go over to other countries, you got to be so careful about what you do, who you interact with. And then the other thing too, you got to kind of study up on the things that you can and cannot do when you go over there. Like you have to be so super cautious. And that's why I brought up the Dubai example, because Dubai got so many damn rules. There's just so much you can't do. Like, I'm gonna give you an example of something that happened when I was in Dubai. So 2023, I won't tell all the details. I'll just tell the quick kind of summary of it. There was a dude who tried to scam me and my wife when we were there. It was this Indian dude, and he was in a taxi. And I guess his taxi was like a little different than the other taxis that we saw. And they have like a certain system that you're supposed to charge cards to and stuff like that. And dude was talking about the little system where you charge someone's card after you've dropped them off at their location. He's talking about how that shit didn't work. And, you know, you can just pay me on Apple Pay. That shit didn't feel right. And so at that moment, so my wife, like she would have stayed quiet anyway, because like, you know, I tend to like handle these types of things, but like, you know, she was super quiet because women start going back and forth with people and stuff like that. They like to lock them up. And so I'm talking, I'm like, yo, are you trying to scam us? Like what's up? So it got into one of those things where we were going back and forth because I saw a sticker on the window and I said, yo, the sticker right here says, if your stuff does not work, then your ride is free. So we were going back and forth, and it was so bad. The people in the hotel were siding with us. Like it was like a European chick that was inside, and it was somebody else as well too. It was actually another brother who was there, like another brother. I think he was from the United States, like just his vibe. And they sided with us when we were talking about what he was trying to do, because this dude was trying to scam us, because he was sitting there talking about something like, yeah, you can just pay me on Apple Pay. I'm like, hell the fuck, no, I'm not. So he was trying to go back and forth, dude, try to buck up on me and all this other stuff. And I'm like, bro, you better get the fuck back. I'll slap the butter chicken about you. Like, if you don't get the fuck back. But no, on a serious note though, like we were about to get scammed, but yeah, it ended up getting handled. But yeah, like they will lock like women up if like they go back and forth with them. And that's why I always point to the sassy trucker situation. I'm not defending her per se, because I already know kind of what her MO was and stuff like that. But you know, at the same time though, like what if it wasn't somebody who was minding their own business? or somebody who was minding their own business and they weren't doing anything, they could end up getting locked up. Because how long was the sassy trucker? For people who know, how long was she locked up over there in Dubai? Because I feel like that had to have been what, maybe like she was there what, 4 months or something. Like she was there for a minute. Like, and because remember they had the Quanell ex guy. He was trying to go over there. He was trying to get her up out the jail. Like, how long was she over there for anybody who remembers? Let's see here. Actually, Jovial, shout out to you. Dubai got so many rules, yet people going over there to get swatted on for. Yeah, you ain't lying about that. Yeah, and that's another thing too. A lot of these like countries, like a lot of these Arabic countries, they have these like weird kind of like crimes and stuff like that going on. And you even hear about like trafficking problems in some of these countries as well too, especially when you think about like Saudi Arabia and places like that. It's a lot of stuff going on in these damn places. So you ain't lying. you are not lying. Let's see here. Thank you for supporting chat. Much appreciated to you. Still kind of dealing with the chat here. Appreciate that. First live, what's cracking? About to rewind to the beginning to catch up. Please do. Appreciate you coming through. I remember that story. It might have been a few months to a year. Yeah, I thought it had to have been. It seemed like it was 3 to 6 months or something like that. But I would love to go to Dubai. I won't lie to you. So I actually really did enjoy Dubai. Outside of that situation, I did actually enjoy being in Dubai. Like it's one of those places where the way that it looks on TV is pretty much the way that it is. Some people are like, oh, it's fake, it's this and that. I enjoyed myself personally. I had a good time. I saw a lot of cool sights. Also, too, when we were there, if you ever decide to go there, Dark Ghost, by the way, one thing that you should do, because I travel a lot, so I like to, see different things and stuff like that and just learn about different areas. If you ever go there, one thing that we did this camel ride. So we rode a camel. We did like the UTVs, like the ATVs, UTVs. That's like one of my favorite like things, like excursions to do when I'm on a trip. And then we did like sandboarding, like actually had boards in the sand. So it's a lot of cool stuff that you can actually do while you're there. So definitely, you'll definitely have a good time. Food it was decent, depending on where you go. There's a lot of different types of food because it's kind of like the Arabic New York or some shit. But going back though, it's a lot of stuff to do. It's real nice. But I will say though, there was one day we went to this thing that was at the fountain. I don't remember. And babe, you can kind of remind me, but I don't remember why we went to that fountain that was by the mall, by the Dubai Mall. But we were outside there, y'all, and it smelled like straight up motherfucking onions outside, y'all. Like, I don't know what, I've never seen so many musty people in one fucking area. I just wanted to take a fucking bottle of deodorant spray and just spray that shit all around. Like it smelled funky as fuck. Like, matter of fact, fuck a deodorant. I wanted to get like Febreze and then just spray the entire can the whole time. It smelled like fucking onions the whole time that we were there. Like at that fountain, that is. But going back, I'll be outside of that. It was cool. ATV is done regularly in the South. I noticed that because even when I went to Memphis, Tennessee for my birthday, they had like a little black-owned ATV spot that me and my wife actually checked out. So, and that was pretty cool. I want some of that authentic Dubai chocolate, and I want to try their fast food over there. I see why you feel that way. They do have like different things. Like, for example, I was watching this one food review channel, and this dude had this thing called like the McArab wrap at McDonald's, and I was like, oh, that's different. They probably switched the name and maybe a few ingredients, but that's different. It was a good time. I actually enjoyed myself. But when we was at that fountain though, it smelled like raw ass onions, y'all. I'm like, what in the fuck is going on? Did y'all like just not like bathe or put on fucking deodorant before y'all came out here? Or did you all just like submerge yourself in the damn food that y'all cook and then come out? Like, what the fuck, man? Like, it was kind of crazy. And then on top of that too, not only was it musty as hell, it was hot as hell. Because Dubai, when we were there, and babe, you can kind of confirm this if this is true or not true, but when we were there, I thought it got up to like 100 and what 15 or something. It was somewhere between 113 and 100 like 18, like as far as the temperature. And at night, because when we was at this fountain, that was at nighttime. That had to be like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And that it was like 96 or 97 degrees outside at night, by the way, at night, which was hot. It's hot as fuck at night. And it was musty as hell. So like heat, must, like the combination, that shit just didn't do me right. I just didn't like that. I felt the need when I went back to my hotel. I felt like I had to go and fucking shower, like because I was around must so much. I thought I was smelling like a goddamn like Coney Island hot dog after being around these people. Like that shit was just crazy, yo. I don't know that I didn't like that. Let's see here. Dubai chocolate is overpriced for sure. I like it personally, but when I had it in a I don't know if you all have ever had acai bowls, but they have like these. So there's this place that I've been to that in my area, and they have like these little acai bowls that you can get. And the acai bowls, they had a limited edition one where you could get the Dubai chocolate thing, right? And I could taste the difference in there because they had like, you know, it's brown and then in the inside is green. It kind of looks like a baby shit, but really it's pistachios, right? And I thought it was pretty good. It's rich as shit, but it's pretty good. I do think it's overpriced as hell, though, to be honest. Damn, it's like that in Dubai. It was hot as a motherfucker. It was hot as hell, right? It was hot as hell, and then they were musty. Like, just imagine that combination, bro. Imagine that shit. That's how it was. And it was at 10 o'clock at night. You know, somebody said it's like Arab Vegas. Okay, that may be I said Arab New York. Arab Vegas is probably a better way to put it. I'm glad that you said that. Yes, it was so hot. Okay, so you're confirming that. Also, King, places like Dubai and Saudi Arabia has a lot of traffic and business. If you know what yes, they do. Keep in mind, Andrew Tate often goes to those places. Don't get me started on that Negroid. Ugh, don't even get me started on him. It's Sambo and ass. Let's see here. Somebody said a baby shit. It is like it's green and it's green on the inside and it's brown. I'm like, what the fuck is up with that? I just don't like the way it looks. But I tried it though, and I actually like the taste. I do like the taste. I've been to try Dubai chocolate. I could order some, but I can't even afford it yet. I mean, who the fuck can? I mean, to pay that much money for a goddamn bar of chocolate, it's crazy. And it really isn't worth that much. It's good, but it ain't worth all that. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's acai. Okay, I thought it was acai. I still have never had it before. This is the thing, babe. I actually think you would like it. I know you like a bunch of sweet shit, but you know, I'm not a big chocolate person, but I thought it was cool. I just think it's overpriced, like actually Jovial has said. Let's see here. Did I miss anything? Were there snakes crawling in the desert y'all went to? If it is, I'll pass and just do the beach. I ain't see no snakes. So even when we were in the desert, because when we did the excursions, that was about an hour. What'd you say that? About 45 minutes to an hour away from the city of Dubai, like where we went to actually do it. So we were literally in the middle of the fucking deserts. Like it was to the point where it was nothing but sand, and there was like some camels that were walking behind some gates, and I'm like, what the fuck? But like that's where we were at when we were doing these excursions. And on top of that too, because it was so sandy and windy, we had to have our faces wrapped up and all types of shit, right? So it was to the point where like we're like hot as hell, right? And our faces are wrapped in shit, and it's like, you know, it's we're about to do these excursions where we're about to do the ATV, the UTV and the ATV. We're about to do this like this camel ride. Like it was a lot going on. But I didn't see any snakes when I was in the sand. When I was sandboarding, because I did the thing where they gave us these like sandboards where we could like go up a hill and then try to slide down that bad boy like while being on a board and stuff like that. Which it was all right, but I just kept falling and tumbling in the shit like it was snow. But there was no snakes there, so I think you should be good. You should be fine. Now I will say the only thing that I didn't like about that excursion, like literally the only thing is, there were a lot of motherfuckers that were trying to sell me shit while I was there. There were people that were trying to sell me paintings and portraits and taking pictures and so you buy. And I'm like, no, I don't want to buy that shit. I do not want to buy nothing. Like there was a lot of that going on. There was a lot of them trying to sell me kind of these like travel packages and all types of bullshit. Let's see. Thank God. I'll take that into consideration. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, too much of that sand in your lungs is no good. It's not. It isn't. And there was a lot of it going on. So I had to like wrap my face and shit like that because I had like I'd already had like this ski mask, right? And the ski mask I had like it covered everything, it covered my nose too. It just didn't cover the holes because I obviously had to breathe. But and then like I think my wife, she had like a scarf or something like that, I believe. Babe, I can't remember. Did you have a ski mask too? I thought you just had a scarf that was just wrapping your face. Snakes hide in grass. Yep. Was the sand soft? I thought it was. Yes. Yeah. But now I will say, like, I only fell a few times when I was like on the little sandboarding thing, and I got kind of bored because I wasn't sliding that well down the damn slope. And after a while, I got tired of just tumbling and shit and having to walk back up there. And that shit was hard. And I was running out of breath. And I was like, God damn, like I feel like I didn't travel that far. And that shit was hard as hell to walk in. But it's like snorting glass. Yeah, it is. It is. How's the weather out in those places? It was hot as a bitch. Mathematics. It was hot as a bitch. It was I believe the high was like 118 and the low was 96. Like at nighttime, it was like 96 degrees. And in the daytime, it got up to, like I said, 118. Another thing I got to tell y'all this too. I like telling people about our traveling story since we're kind of on topic. Another thing too, real quick, I want to tell y'all about. When I was there, I actually tried camel. So I know y'all are probably gonna judge. I already know. I tried camel when I was over there too. I just gotta say this. So I tried camel. Camel kind of tastes like it's like beef. Like, I don't know, it's kind of like a steak. But yeah, there's a restaurant there. If you go to it, they actually have it where you can actually eat camel. So I tried. I was like, shit. I was like, why not? I don't know, why not? So yeah, it was, but it was like steak. My wife was like mortified. She was like, "What the fuck? Like, I can't believe you just sat there and ate a damn camel." Like she was getting on me. Did you see my comment about the camel? What did you say, babe? Hold on, I'll try to go back. What did you say? I don't see your comment about the camel. Yeah, I don't see your comment. What did you say about the camel? But yeah, you ate Joe Camel. How could you? Listen. Like, so my wife probably said this, but I think the reason why she was mortified was because we had just did a camel ride before we went and got our food. And the place I went to, like, I got some camel. And so she was like, we just rode the camels. Like, how, like, cause she bonded with the camel really like my wife for some reason. And she was like, I bonded with the camel. You was gonna sit there and eat the camel. And I'm like, listen, I'm curious. Like, I kind of want to know what that shit tastes like. But it wasn't it wasn't that bad. Like, I thought it was pretty good. I was sitting there, I took the damn what was it, the garlic sauce and shit. I was dipping the shit in the garlic. So it was good to me. I liked it. It was good. I don't even know what camels eat. Not Miss Colas was mortified. I mean, I don't know either. I just tried it. You ate his cousin. How could you? I did. Cousin, it could have been like a damn like grandparent or some shit. I don't know. Like I don't know. It was good. It was good. They would have to pay me to go 113 degrees willingly. LOL. Yeah, the thing is, I didn't know what the temperature was gonna be. I knew it was gonna be hot as hell, but I didn't expect it to be like fucking 100, between 113 and 118. That shit was crazy. But yeah, I will say I do recommend people go. I do recommend that people see what it's about. She said, "Wow, that is terrible." But like, to be honest, I had a good time. That mall is incredible, by the way, y'all. If you ever go to Dubai, go to the Dubai Mall. They have a lot of shit going on in there too. They have it where there's like a skating rink in there. There's like a big old movie theater in there as well too. Like, I know one of the malls has like a little ski resort actually in the inside. I don't think it was the one we went into, but like they had that in there. They have a lot of places where you can see like a lot of portraits, and it's almost like a mini museum in that bitch as well too. Tons of restaurants. Like it was a lot. That mall that was the most incredible looking mall I've seen. Now, as far as like the clothes game and stuff like that, that wasn't really popping per se, but as far as like just the mall itself, it was pretty good. Did you two have good air conditioning? So the hotel, did they serve it with bread? Yes, they did. They served it with this little pita bread type of thing. It was a little bit of garlic sauce, and then I had like these mixed vegetables on the side. It was like tomatoes and some other shit, and then it was a camel. And I was taking the camel, I was cutting that shit up like it was a steak, and I was dipping that in the garlic. So I even made me a little camel sandwich. Took the damn like bread and the camel and then the garlic sauce and the vegetable, and I took that shit and folded over and mixed that together and was eating it. My wife was just mortified the whole fucking time I was consuming that damn camel, y'all. But how was the food? The food was straight. It was straight. We didn't. Okay, so I'll tell you this: we didn't go to a lot of restaurants while we were there because, the thing is that our hotel already had a lot of accommodations that were great. So I know you had, I think it was somebody in there asked about liquid sunshine asked about the air conditioning. It was pretty like well air conditioned in our hotel, and our hotel was dope. Matter of fact, our hotel was cheap and dope. Like, matter of fact, the hotel that my wife and I were in was one of the best hotels we've ever stayed in, and it was one of the cheapest we ever stayed in, actually. And then the breakfast though was just off the charts. So every day we woke up, I mean, that breakfast was just bumping every single day. They had all types of stuff in there. They had some shit I ain't never heard of in there because they had a little omelet station. This was at a Hyatt, by the way, y'all. They had an omelet station. They had this station where you could get like this little biryani rice thing. They had this is for breakfast apparently. They had it where you could get like mushrooms, different types of mushrooms and stuff like that. Different types of salami. They had like a turkey salami, a chicken salami. They had like where you could get like date syrup pancakes. It was just all types of shit that was there. They had like where you could get like hummus and garlic like sauce and stuff like that with like the bread. So they just had a lot of different stuff. They had chicken adobo too randomly for breakfast. I said, what the hell is that doing for breakfast? But I tried that. Yo, that was like one of my favorite fucking meals. Like I had like a little bit of the adobo rice, and then I took some of the chicken, put that on top of that shit. That was really good. Omelet station. It was an Arabic dude. Every time we would come down for breakfast, Arabic dude would come right over. He'd be like, "Yo, hey, you want an omelet? You want an omelet?" And I'm like, "No, it's cool, dude." He was like super attentive. He was real cool, but like every time he was always ready to make me a damn omelet every time we would come down there. But going back though, like yeah, it was the food was pretty decent. We went to this Indian restaurant that was pretty good as well too. I had this thing called mutton biryani, and that shit was like it basically was like eating lamb and the biryani rice and stuff like that. Babe, I don't remember I think you had tikka masala or something like that. And then I went to like I said, the place where I ate the camel, and I feel like we might have went to one other place, but we didn't go to that. Yes, we did. We went to another place. There was another restaurant we went to, and they had this thing called Kingfish. And then they had like a bunch of other stuff as well too. They had like this it was like the like they would serve dates with a lot of shit like over in Dubai. And then it was, you get the meal with the pita bread, the garlic sauce, the hummus. They had all types of stuff basically there. So it was real good. Let's see here. I'm visualizing myself now at that station. I'm having a fat boy moment. I'm telling you, I would go over there and listen. It's actually, to me, for it to be overseas, I didn't find it to be that expensive. Matter of fact, I thought that doing shit in Dubai was actually rather cheap. Just my opinion. It depends on what you do, who you are, and stuff like that. But when I was over there, it was not expensive to me. But only thing that was really expensive was getting the ticket. But outside of like the ticket to go there and back, everything else was pretty cheap to me. You got to take a taxi everywhere, because it's funny because there was oh yeah, my wife just said it. When we was at our hotel, there was a lady who was there, and she was like we were trying to figure out where places that we wanted to go, and then she said Dubai is not the walkable city, and we were like, what the fuck you mean by that? And that's when we found out it was hot as hell. That's when we found out that like it was like 113 degrees outside. So yeah, we found out about how crazy that shit was. Let's see. Y'all was eating good. That's why people go. The food was decent. It was really good. That last meal, I think, was my favorite meal. I can't remember everything that I had. I just remember having this thing called Kingfish, and I remember that being on point. I remember the bread was on point. The sides were on point, and they gave you like two different types of. They gave you a garlic sauce, a hummus. They gave me this red sauce I ain't never seen before as well too, but that was good too. But yeah, there was just a lot of stuff. Oh, it's a given. I'm planning that trip 2027, 20 or 2028. You should go. I'm telling you. And then when you go, you got to see the Burj Khalifa. That was cool. I also saw what was it? The Museum of the Future. That shit was like that shit was really interesting too. Like they had all these like futuristic plans that Dubai wanted to do. That was cool. Kingfish is good. It was good. It was. They seasoned it real nice as well too. And then the Arabic dude who was there, he gave us a tour and he showed us all the paintings and he showed us like around the restaurant. He talked about the history of the restaurant and stuff like that. So like even the people there were like were cool too when we was at the restaurant. I'm not gonna lie, King. I'm kind of biased when it comes to food. If it ain't Black American, Caribbean, or West Indian food, I don't rock with it. Never thought Dubai food would be good. LOL. Interested. Listen, I'll say this, like to the point that you just made, the 3 types of food that you name are actually my favorite types of food as well too. I love our food the most. I love foundational Black American, like soul food. I love our food the most. But I would probably put Caribbean second. I would put African third, me personally. But I do like other types of food. I'm like a food connoisseur. I like to try other stuff. There's some things I don't like as much as others. Like some of those European dishes and shit, I really don't like. But like as far as like if I had to like go top 3, it would be those 3. If I had to go number 4, probably Korean fried chicken. So maybe Korean. But definitely number 1 for me is our food. You give me some good macaroni and cheese. You give me some greens with turkey and give me a little vinegar that I can put on that shit, and you got me sold straight up. But as far as like Jamaican food's good too. I like Jamaican food. I like jerk chicken, like what was it, curry chicken, curry goat. That's good too. I like all that stuff. African food, I'm finding out what I like with African food, because there's some things I tried and I'm like, I don't really like that shit. Like I tried that egusi. I don't like egusi. I don't know how they can eat that shit. But I found something I like. It was like what's it called? Mafe. It was like a peanut butter lamb stew. Like everywhere where I get that, like African restaurant, that shit is on point. I have never had like a mafe or whatever you call it at an African restaurant that I just didn't like. Never. So I'm like, okay, so that's like my go-to. That's the shit that I'm gonna get most times when I go to an African restaurant, because the thing is, I didn't even try African food until I was probably maybe in my like late 20s, early 30s. Like I really didn't eat African food like that growing up. I didn't eat Caribbean food like that growing up. I ate like soul food growing up. So like so it was a while before I actually even tried that for the first time. For sure, King, respect it. Yep. Here's some things to do. Thanks for putting that in the chat, by the way, baby. Dubai Fountain, because I know somebody was asking about that. Dubai Fountain, Dubai Mall, Museum of the Future, Burj Khalifa. Yep. So that's everything. You ever had Ethiopian food? I like Ethiopian food. I like the little injera bread and shit, and you fold it up and you put like the lentils in it, and then you put like the cabbage in it, and the Dora Wat. I think that's the chicken one, right? That I like the chicken. I like that Dora Wat. That's cool. So I do like Ethiopian food. Yes, right. African food can be a hit or miss at times. With African food, like I said, like I had to find the shit that I like, because when it comes to like African food, like I said, egusi is not my thing. Cassava leaves, it depends on who makes it. I've had cassava leaves I liked. I had some where I was like, why is there so much fucking palm oil in this thing? So there was that, but jollof rice is cool. I see why they like that. The mafe is definitely the best meal. Like the peanut butter soup, mafe, whatever you want to call it, that shit is definitely the best meal. There's a spot, there's a spot that I went to in Detroit, because y'all know I'm from the Detroit area. Like there's a spot I went to. It's called K. I always call it K&G African. My wife be getting on me. She said it's KG, babe. It's KG. K&G African. It's over in Garden City, Michigan. If y'all ever in the Detroit area, hit that up. I really I think that's the best African food that I've ever had. So yeah, y'all should definitely check that out if you ever are in that area. Let's see. Word up, Dora Wat be hitting, but you gotta get the real shit. You need to get the authentic version of African nation foods. I'm not sure what is and is not authentic. I ain't gonna lie to you. You probably would be a better, judge of that than I would, because I'm not African, I don't know the culture's food as well as probably other people do. So I probably have to be put on that. I hated fufu and okra growing up as FBA and Nigerian, so I understand. Laugh my ass off, yeah, because that should be stinking and greasy. That's what I don't like. I don't like the palm oil. The palm oil is just too much for you, boy. It like, because there's one time I had like a goosey and I took like the fufu and I dipped it in and I ate it and I just shook. I was like, damn, what the fuck was that? Like, I felt like my body was convulsing and shit after I ate it. I was like, something ain't right about that damn palm oil shit that they put in that damn goosey. I don't know. I didn't like that at all. I really didn't like that shit. Let's see here. The food was good at KG African. It is the food is off the chain at KG African. I give it to them. And they're actually they actually are they're the people there are actually real dope, because sometimes you go into some of these restaurants, right? Like you go into a Caribbean restaurant, African restaurant, that type of thing, and like the service is just like, what the fuck, right? But that's one of the places I went to, and they're real cool. The sisters that are in there are real cool. The dude who owns it is an African brother. He's real cool as well too. And we've been in there multiple times and stuff like that. And it got to the point where they started actually knowing our faces and shit. But yeah, the African dude and the sisters in there are always real cool. And it got to a point I started putting my family on there. They started going over there and getting like, I think one time my mom got like fish or some shit from over there. But yeah, I started putting them on the place. Eating someone else's house for authentic ethnic foods. Okay, got you. All right, bet. Noted. Let's see here. I had their jollof rice and some other dish. KG served food at our cafe. Oh, nice. Okay, that's what's up. Okay, so you actually have, because you're from Detroit, right? Still I rise, still 313. So I don't even know why I asked that question. Let's see here. KG served food at our cafe where I would work in Southfield in summertime. I like their food personally. That's like my favorite African spot personally. My favorite things, I like the mafe, and I like that mustard chicken shit. I can't remember what the name of it was, but that was pretty good too. Let's see, where do you draw the line between FBA and African Americans? I don't think I totally understand the question, but I guess I would say that foundational Black Americans are individuals who like originated from like building up America from the ground up, like from the start. America was rebuilt up by slave labor, and there were originally Black people that were in America, versus, I guess, African American, where it kind of puts all Black people into that pool, including individuals who maybe like were a first generation where they were born in America, but they happen to have a lineage where their family was somewhere else, like maybe the Caribbeans or in Africa or that type of thing. That would be like the separation between the two. And I think that's why the foundational Black American name is being used, because a lot of people like to kind of say, oh, it's a group. It's not a group. Like it's meant to be a cultural lineage. It's meant to be a thing where we're saying that, our ancestors built up America, which they did, and they had to build it up on slave labor even. And they're honoring that lineage, and so that's different than somebody who may have had a parent who came from somewhere else, came over there, and then now they're considered a African American, as you said, and calling it that. Like I said, it's just delineation. I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't even care if people like say, hey, I'm Jamaican, I'm African, that type of thing. You should be able to claim your lineage and be proud of where you come from. I think every Black person should be able to be proud of where they come from. I just don't think that it should be a thing of like, people are upset because we're the ones delineating. That's ridiculous. But going back though, that's the separation there. See, haha, yeah, brother. I don't trust any other African spot. Okay, because I've been to some and I'm like, they're on some weird shit. There is a place in North Carolina that I like, that I tried in Raleigh. Raleigh, I can't remember the name of it, but there's a place in Raleigh, North Carolina. The brother there is real cool. It's kind of pricey, but the food is delicious. It's probably the second best I probably had, but it's an African spot over in North Carolina that I really like as well. Shout out to Detroit Love from Brooklyn. Detroit has some badass fighters such as James Toney and Gerald McClellan. Yes, indeed. Let's see. Yep, delineation is not annihilation. Absolutely, it's not. It's not. I mean, people should be allowed to celebrate their cultural lineage, and that's just really all there is to it. No matter where you come from, whether you're from Jamaica, Haiti, whether you're from like America, like myself, like you should be able to just say, "Hey, that's where my lineage comes from." You know, I think a lot of us know that we're genetically African, but we know where our lineage comes from, and we know, and we want to honor the fact that our ancestors actually built up America, because we did. We built it up on slave labor. So that, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not like an ammunition type of thing, like you, or annihilation thing, like you said, Liquid Sunshine. It's only a problem it's only a problem when we do it. It is. Let's see. I want to go to North Carolina so bad. Yeah. So here's the thing. So actually, Jovial, if you ever decide to go to North Carolina, I would definitely go to either a Charlotte or a Raleigh. Right. Charlotte is the biggest city. It's a lot of stuff to do in the area. You know, in this area. Charlotte has a very, very vast area. A lot of people don't realize it's actually bigger than Atlanta. It's more condensed, and traffic's crazier and all types of shit, like in Atlanta, than it is in Charlotte. But technically, the population of Charlotte is actually, bigger. So it's a lot of stuff to do. It's a lot going on in the city. It's a lot of Black people that are doing a lot of interesting things, in the city as well. So I definitely think it would be a vibe. You definitely should come through to North Carolina. Yeah, it's a lot happening. It's a lot going on. Let's see here. First of all, I just want to kind of put this on the screen. Shout out to actually Jovial again here. Do you think Inc. 23andMe is a viable source of lineage discovery? Great question. I would say no. I think that it's more so a discovery of it. It tells you like, oh, you came from like, you're this percent European, this percent African, this percent Asian, and then everybody's going to have a mix of a lot of things all over the board. So no, I don't. I think that it's better to probably trace your lineage by just getting documents and things like that together, figuring out where your family is from all the way. I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's harder to figure out your dad's side than your mom's side. A lot of us, I think, especially, as foundational Black Americans, a lot of us are used to like kind of just having an idea of where some family members maybe like were at. Like I told y'all earlier, a lot of my family comes from Mississippi. Even when I was younger, I used to fly down there with my mom and my grandma and stuff like that. And I would visit like a lot of my cousins, and my great grandma, she lived there. So I think that it's one of them things where it's more so you're probably gonna have to talk to people, find out records, and kind of get your tree kind of going. But as far as like the 23andMe, I would say no. I would say no. Everyone else does, but we can't out of here. Absolutely, I agree. Charlotte has a large population, and Raleigh has half the population. Yeah, Charlotte's population is almost like what? It's about 800, 900K. Just the city. And then Raleigh's population is probably like 400 or 500, I would say. Let's see here. Oh, I want to ask you, what's the overall relationship between Africans and African Americans as a whole in North Carolina? Because here in New York, they don't interact with us at all on a general basis. I haven't really observed the nuances. I ain't gonna lie to you. Since I've been here, between the Africans and foundational Black Americans, I haven't really seen kind of what those interactions are like too much, to be honest with you. Excuse me. I think what makes it really difficult, I'm gonna be honest with you, is that Charlotte is a city where it's got a big amalgamation, may not be the right word, but it's got a big mix of people from different areas, because a lot of times you'll have people who will move from like New York City, New Jersey, some Maryland people, Ohio, and usually Michigan, like where I'm from. And then they'll kind of all be in the same area. And sometimes you'll get people who are FBA, sometimes you won't. So it's real mixed, and it's kind of hard to tell who's from where a little bit. So that's kind of my problem with it, is it just seems really all over the place. So I couldn't really tell you as of right now, because it just feels New York is a melting pot. And that's kind of how like North Carolina, or specifically Charlotte, is starting to feel, because everybody's just coming downwards. And there's a lot of New Yorkers. It's a lot of New Yorkers in Charlotte all of a sudden. Let's see. In North Carolina, the Native Americans are cool, and they will tell you that there is no such thing as Africans selling Africans. Let's see here. Nigerians cosplay as foundational and get in jail globally. You know, and like I said, and I'm gonna be real. Like, I haven't met a lot of people who were African in North Carolina like that. Most of the people I met were FBA, like people who actually were like from there. You know, a lot of people that I know are actually like are originally from North Carolina. So it seems as though like they are pretty well in understanding delineation. Even the times where I bring up the term foundational Black Americans, and some people are not hip to that specific term, I see that there are they kind of understand delineation, and that they're, you know, Africans act different than the way foundational Black Americans do. Caribbeans act different than foundational Black Americans do. They seem to understand that, is my point. But yeah, but listen, y'all, I've been on here for a minute. I'm gonna have to get up out of here. I really enjoy talking with y'all. I'm definitely gonna try to do this more often. I do want to say this real quick though, because like y'all were really like in here heavy today, and I appreciated you guys' energy and questions and stuff like that. And I think we really got into some real good conversations. But what I was gonna say though, real quick, so with the posting schedule, I am gonna have to reduce it a little bit because it is starting to get a little tough on me. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I'm probably going to do it where I'm doing 3 videos a week and then probably a live, just so we can kind of keep things together, and I can keep giving y'all like really good content and whatnot, right? But yeah, after February, I'm going to start reducing it a little bit, because I also want to start giving y'all more like content on the membership channel as well too, so y'all can go and do your thing there as well. Because there's a lot of stuff that we got to talk about, and I definitely want to kind of get into it with y'all about you know, the stuff that I got going on outside of what I do here, because I always talk about, you know, like what's going on with the media and whatnot, but at the same time I have stuff projects that I'm actually doing myself. I told you all I'm funding my very first comic book. I have 2 books that are supposed to be coming out at some point, and there's some other projects that I have on the back burner that I haven't really got a chance to really speak about, so I'll get to talk about it there. But I just want to let y'all know that. Let's see, I download your videos. I appreciate that. I'm glad that you do, because like, and that's the thing, like I want to preserve a lot of this stuff too, because I'm giving a lot of information, and I want to make sure that, you know, if I have another space that I can kind of put it on and where people can listen to me, I'm able to do that. So I'm glad that you said that, because that kind of put in my mind I need to like do that more myself. Your posts are informational and funny as fuck. I appreciate it. Oh, this was fun though. Nice meeting you and your wife. Nice meeting you as well, Liquid Sunshine. I appreciate you too, like handling the comments and coming in there and bringing your energy as well, by the way. But yeah, y'all. I'll look at this last question. Somebody said here, so don't stop, get it. I know that's right. See, Charlotte property value average 3 to 4 room, 2 bath, 4,000 square feet, 500K. I ain't gonna lie, the houses are off the chain in Charlotte. If you're choosing to buy a house in Charlotte, I'm gonna be honest with you, I would not even fuck with Mecklenburg County at this point. If you choose to buy, I would go like this is just my opinion. I would go maybe Cabarrus, and even that shit's starting to kind of go up. I would, if not Cabarrus, I would go Rowan, or I would go Union, or I would just go Rock Hill, South Carolina, and call it a day at this point. But anyway, y'all, I'm about to get up out of here. I appreciate y'all. Like I said, I'm going to have some videos that'll be coming up for the membership channel. If y'all want to come to the live lecture that I'm doing Saturday, let me know. Hit me up. I put my thing in the channel. I'll do it once more for y'all, since, you know, we are here. Kukolas 07@gmail.com. So that's for you all if you guys want to hit me up. Other than that, I appreciate y'all coming through, and I'll talk to you later. Peace out, y'all.